Good evening, everybody. Let's see how you're doing, and let's see how my stream's health is doing. Okay, so hang on. No, that makes sense. All right, so it looks like everything is where it needs to be as far as stream quality is concerned. For those of you who enjoy watching on YouTube, I will try and keep the talk to less than 10 minutes. And while I don't like doing stuff specifically for New Year's, I am debating about maybe trying to just crash into the streams right away, because the one untested assumption I've made in kind of giving myself my preamble time, one, it helps me decompress, but I suppose there's also that unspoken assumption that people maybe want to be able to, catch all of the video or all of the details, and that certainly would not be true based on what I see in terms of things like VODs. Excuse me. People usually will nibble at whatever bits that they can. Now, I don't have a lot of expectations for tonight's stream because I am coming to you very late. In fact, if anything, I'm probably starting around the time that I would normally have about half an hour left to go. And I do have work tomorrow, so it has been a nice little long weekend for me, but I do need to get back to work. However, I did say I was going to stream today, and I can't undo. I actually was asleep. My sleeping schedule's kind of really drifted, and I tried to reset that, and I just wound up napping a whole lot. But I can't undo the very late start time. I can't go back to start, but I can at least do the best that I can for the broadcast. Now, obviously, the last couple of broadcasts, I have been wondering whether or not it's really worth it for me to keep going with Age of Wonders Planetfall. So I don't like relitigating this stuff, but here's a general idea of what I think has been going on in terms of streaming and some of the things that have happened in terms of a specific bundle of games that I've either been able to access or have not had access to. One unfortunate side effect from 2020 has been that while there have been a few years of me being able to get promotional keys for Paradox games, and certainly Age of Wonders Planetfall is one of them, that seems to have ceased. So in the case of Crusader Kings 3, I reached out and I didn't get any... in this case, people who previously had given me sort of direct contact didn't acknowledge the emails and such. So I'm going to assume that something's happened in terms of Paradox. They're obviously a very different company from the time I started streaming. They're a much bigger company, and so I think the decision has just kind of come to either you have to sort of quote-unquote know a guy, or you need to hit a certain size. And I noticed more developers are also using a few key mailing services, which are fine, but I do notice that they are starting to put what, in my opinion, are somewhat aggressive concurrent viewer requirements. Now, I do think that this is slightly better than follow requirements, because follow requirements, like as you can see, I have a reasonable number of followers, but maybe not quite the same concurrent viewers. And if you are trying to measure outreach as opposed to just try and make sure that people have been doing this for a while, so follows will probably be a decent function of how people have how long people have been doing it. But the fact of the matter is that I have started to see sort of a shrinking in terms of games that I think would normally be a very good fit. What's happened, though, it's not purely negative. I have wound up getting in touch with other developers who are actually very happy to see their games being covered. So the reason I mention some of this is that I don't particularly like thinking of games in terms of what kind of viewership they pull. But there is an unfortunate catch-22 for the Paradox stuff, which is stuff that maybe doesn't quite catch the same attention. that's now going to be held against future access to certain titles, and at this point, I've kind of there isn't the same reason to be doing a dedicated Paradox Monday. I've been thinking of a dedicated Strategy Monday because, of course, the Brace Yourself games are wonderful, and I think they'd be a really good fit for that. But an unfortunate casualty of that would be Age of Wonders Planetfall, which is a game I thoroughly enjoy. But I really have, I can see if I do a plot of concurrent viewership over the games that I do, I really want to share this game, but it's also the one where I sort of start seeing the craters. And hey, Pradziri Smock, thank you very much for the host. I'm actually just starting, as opposed to how we normally find each other, so I appreciate that. So, I mean, it could just be, people don't want to see what I bring to the game, which is fair. I'll talk a little bit about that at the start of the campaign. But where my original intention was to actually do all of the Star Kings campaign and all of the remainder of the main campaign, I think it's at a point here where I've been given a pretty clear signal. I've asked a couple of times for people, if you want to keep seeing Planetfall, please let me know. And at this point, I will, at least for streaming, sort of step away from it. And then I'll probably still play this on my own time. And then if I can think of a slightly better way to do this, maybe YouTube focused, maybe just a special stream where I do some of the new Empire mechanics. I think what I'm going to do is try and figure out where this is going. Good middle of the night. So let's at least load up what we've got here. I know I'm a little early by the standards of starting on. Now, as far as other streaming titles are concerned, the fact of the matter is that I don't do this just for games that I can get a stream key for. So I was delighted by the fact that Cloudpunk sent off a key, which is great because that is a game I wouldn't normally have experienced, save for the fact that I was given a promotional key. There are a lot of different ways to sort of navigate these waters, but I did just kind of want to give a little bit of a preview, I guess, in terms of where I was thinking. And then the other big question for me is the vodcasts for Morrowind. I think I'm probably going to wind up sticking with those no matter what. But those are the other big thing that drag down the average in terms of concurrent viewership. And then the next thing I need to worry about is just I need to find a way to reconnect with people and find out what people want to watch. So, and Insomnia is still staying with you for the tour. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. That's actually the reason I'm quite late. I mean, it's not insomnia if I wind up napping, but certainly I've not found it easy to catch a lot of sleep lately, and so that's why I was. That's actually why I'm starting now. Now, again, it's disclaimers and all of that. I sort of already hinted to it. I was very kindly given a key for both Age of Wonders Planetfall, the base game, as well as the DLC Revelations Invasions. And as part of Invasions, it seems that they just gave access to a season pass, and so indirectly Star Kings. So again, while there wasn't sort of a formal request, hey, could you do this promotion for Star Kings, or alternatively, there wasn't the I'm trying to think of the right way to say it. There wasn't a. Sorry, actually, there's one other thing I want to see. So I've got 16, 78, 53. Technically, this is the week. I'll run with that. Anyways, so it's probably worth disclosing the promotional keys, because in the end it's going to be, I mean, this is all going to be stuff that will be affecting or potentially affecting people's buying decisions. The game, I believe, is still on sale, both in the Paradox sale as well as Humble and Steam and whatnot. So I will say I am certainly really enjoying this game. And one of the things that I think I've probably not been doing so well is sort of my process of learning the game while playing. I've been doing a lot of sort of resetting. I've kind of maybe not been going through the motions, but I haven't really been all that elegant in my approach towards the game. And I'm less bothered by that, frankly, because I actually like playing games this way with the knowledge that when the time comes, I'm going to be able to, I'm going to be able to take that knowledge and do something, do something really impressive later on. But I do think it can create a little bit of frustration just seeing me sort of. I mean, let's face it, it's not necessarily the most fun thing in the world to watch someone constantly repeat a battle each time they lose a unit, because what are we learning out of it? Oh, this is useful. Sorry, I was just realizing that it wasn't a lack of it actually wasn't a lack of intel that was marking that. It's an impassable barrier. That's why these guys haven't been coming out. That changes the equation quite a bit. Yep, because these guys have been staying put the whole time, and it's specifically because this can't be passed. I was sort of teasing it out a little bit as I was going through, but I didn't sort of realize the whole thing. But I'm not even bothering splitting. So this was actually where I was going to get going in terms of the, once the disclaimers are out of the way, I was going to talk a bit about the two approaches. It turns out it'll actually just be one. So the two approaches would have been to attack, try and attack the capital directly. Now that's clearly not an option because of all the void surrounding us. But that's also not a terrible state of affairs, because I can now finally overcome this challenge. So once we clear the Dark Tower, that's probably what's going to give us access. Now, what I may do now that I've got my armies on the way, once we've sort of combined everyone together, maybe I should actually try and take Foranoid and some ZR1. Because again, we're still going to have to deal with the big army in the middle here, but it should be a little bit more of a manageable threat. So my worry was whether or not we would need to keep some sort of defense back here, but it turns out that we don't actually need to cross fields of ice, and so it's a waste to keep the units here, except maybe to try and claim the Hollow Deep District. But I think I can live without claiming that particular resource. Now, the bees aren't really going to be able to help me too much over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take them. I'm going to sort of tickle the borders of the assembly. I know I can spend points. You know what? They're going to wind up. I'm pretty sure the owner here is just going to come and clobber them. We'll see. Again, I'm being a bit of a scumbag and just seeing whether or not I can get away with that. All right, now it looks like our ally in Truchet, I think I was holding them right. I was holding them back because there are threats coming from over here. Looks like they're heading back to Foranoid. So we're probably going to have a large force to deal with when the time comes.
Happiness event in colony.
But I'm going to have my own large force to fight them. If anything, if we can waste their time, that'll work well. So I'm particularly curious. Oh yeah, they're going. All right. Yes, I'm sorry to do it this way, but I'd rather not. I'd rather not start off with senselessly throwing away a stack. I won't bother to put down the. Oh yeah, I should talk about sort of the different approaches and such. So yeah, the biggest challenge that I run into in terms of streaming the game, and I've said this before, is that losing units can be very costly in terms of having to dedicate resources towards sort of rebuilding armies and such, and that's the way it should be. But from a practical point of view, in terms of doing a broadcast, it's not always the most fun thing to just sort of sit and watch. So like I need to balance the irritation of watching me slouch from military defeat to military defeat until I finally grind out a win against the AI, versus watching me reload a bunch of battles against the AI that I keep losing. And I've kind of decided on the latter just simply because, in my opinion, getting clobbered by the AI is the best way to learn a game. I could be wrong on that, but it's worked for me. So here I'm just kind of... I want everyone in the water so that we can take advantage of the speed. Now, I'm not crazy about the fact that we're going to have to take sort of a very well-defended Forenoid, but we have done something similar in the past. There is a side of me that wants to take a contingent up to some ZR1, just so that we can give them a little bit of a dilemma to face. Does Damister already have the one? Nope, the Damister's... I think I started building these units so that I could get... Oh, nope, I was wrong. I was building one of those to... Drat. There isn't an undo on the... Alright, sorry, but I am going to do it this way. This was on its way to the 3-stack, which I don't have. Well, good. I mean, it's the way I want to play the game, which is the most important one. But like so the difference is this: anybody who does Iron Man just for bragging rights. And actually wants to make that a deal in terms of, talking to others about a game, that person is being an asshole. Like that's just the simple fact of it. And the amount of effort that should be put into making such a person happy is exactly zero. There's always going to be another goalpost to push back. To keep someone from saying, oh yeah, you didn't do the real experience of the game. Like, I know when I'm being a bit of a clown with the game and I'm doing would I, if I were forced to be on the same save with a game, would I ever consider even remotely putting this scouting unit so close to Forenoid? No, of course I'm not going to. I'm kind of just pushing the edge to see what I'm up against on here. So, there's a certain set of things that you will and won't do in certain contexts. And, I mean, Iron Man can be really fun to play in a lot of circumstances because of not even necessarily the added challenge, but the way that it forces you to do certain things. Like, you're limited to a particular set of actions. And you play quite cautiously in some cases. Or maybe you don't. Maybe you really just throw everything into a particular attack, specifically because you know that you're not going to have another opportunity to to take on that particular enemy at that particular level of strength. So there's a lot of different reasons why you might want to motivate an Iron Man playthrough. But the fact of the matter is that when I was learning Crusader Kings 2, I never played Iron Man mode. I tried it exactly once, and I said, wait a minute, are you serious that this thing saves itself after... Like, there's no possible way that I would have learned that game as quickly as I did by playing it on Iron Man mode. What I did do, though, was saved it at points where I made specific decisions. And that was a really rewarding experience because I went from being, this game is ridiculously complex, why does anybody like playing it, to, oh, this is really neat. I completely understand what I'm trying to do here, and this is actually kind of fun. So to a certain extent, I'm trying to split the difference in Age of Wonders Planetfall. I know the one answer that I can't go for, unless this were a game where it was like people universally running into, people running into the game and, it's like, we'll watch you play this no matter what. Then I could really see myself struggling through a run. But to me, the appeal of the campaign here is to get the story. And it's maybe, I don't even know if I would consider this a criticism of my one criticism of this particular campaign would be the fact that it seems like there was a better order to do a certain set of actions in that I wasn't really all that aware of until, of course, I saw what their effects were. But if I were to do just a standard Planet campaign, it would be a little bit harder for me to say, okay, you know what, I'm gonna do all combat and keep reloading and rerunning it until until I get a win. Like, this is the reason why games like Civilization get seeds, because you can ruin the fun for yourself by saving and reload. This is actually maybe where it becomes interesting in a game like Age of Wonders Planetfall or XCOM, which is like, when you have a seed, you know that there's going to be a particular ordering of random numbers that come up. So if you do the exact same actions over and over again, you're going to see the exact same results. And in the particular case of Age of Wonders Planetfall, when you're having a couple of armies facing off each other, this is where I find it kind of educational for learning. You may be locked into a particular set of outcomes, but of course the specific decisions that you're making are not necessarily the same. So I definitely don't kind of keep a track record in the back of my head about which hits are going to land and which ones aren't. I'm just not smart enough to do that. But to be able to sort of try different approaches in the combat, that's obviously very different from having your warrior unit go and attack barbarian spearmen and maybe having it work or not having it work in your own sense. I do think I am sort of still spoiling the experience for myself because I do think it's better to just sit down and commit to particular decisions. But in this case here, I do actually find some educational value in attempting different things over and over again. The only drawback is that I'm less convinced that this has been I'm less convinced that this is the sort of thing that people have seem to like watching me learn Crusader Kings, and they found it educational. I'm not sure there's the same attention to wanting to learn how to play Age of Wonders Planetfall, or at least what I'm doing isn't necessarily bringing that across. All right, so I will do a compliment just to keep the allies happy.
Production ready. Production ready. Happiness event in colony.
So, these added units are eventually going to be making their way to sort of this, what used to be the slush unit, but it's actually kind of forming into its own thing. While we're in the water, I might actually just clear out this particular territory. It will be a little tricky for me to... I think it'll be a little tricky for me to get it through any other means. Oh, I didn't even know those guys were running around. As much as I'd like to do combat, I am actually sort of eager to finish off the bigger fights. So I'm going to be a little... this is going to seem a little strange. I'm just doing this so that we can be a little bit closer to the coast after the fight. I didn't turn off tactical operations, so we wound up wasting some energy and points that way.
of the most surprising discoveries about reality is the discovery that our courageous choices, when pure and decent, matter probabilistically. Moral choices exert influence over chaos. To me, it proves there's purpose to our existence. Gillis Tarlox, Overseer.
That's not what I got out of that, Pradzui, but... So I think we're on our way to flawless divination because of the chance that anything with fatalism or adversity have an 8 strength chance of getting killed. We really only get to fire that once, but...
Incremental change must be our strategy. Every aspect of society can and should be improved, but it requires a steady plan, one step at a time. Burke Eskian, Core Systems Architect.
Okay, so we've been going pretty heavy in terms of operational effectiveness just because we've now got operations that effectively like insta-kill enemy units. What I need to start thinking about now are, so even though I'm sort of at a point where we're kind of getting close to the end game, I do sort of need to start thinking about some of the challenges that I'm running into. So one, logistics is a huge problem. Now, I already have accelerated force deployment. And then I already have there was one that gives me orbital relay development. The problem is that I really don't like giving up sectors for the orbital relays, given the state that I'm in right now. I feel that it takes too long and I'm giving up too much in order to be able to do that. So I can say, well, what I could try and do is advance my research in order to be able to sort of get through the trees a little bit sooner, and then that'll clear out my opportunities to gain other... it'll basically clear out my opportunities to gain other resources that I need for making war. I could do adaptive exploitation because that'll give me more cosmite, although again, I'm sitting on a fairly decent little stack there. And the thing that I need the most is energy, but I don't really have access to advanced energy anymore. We've already got energy development 2. So I think in this case here, I'm going to do research development 2, and then eventually we'll do adaptive exploitation. But the fact of the matter is that the place where the cosmite growth chambers will be built is already generating units, and I do sort of want to start getting through a few branches of the research tree, which I haven't really taken care of yet. So it's more of it's kind of a second best sort of approach that I'm taking here. All right, so I don't want to tangle with these guys. I'm gonna move off to the side. It does, however, help me. So if we can kind of keep them away. Oh no, they actually have 2 groups of people. I may need to pull this guy back to Truchet, because if they've got a force which is going to take Truchet and they still have their group for defending Foranoid, I don't have the resources to be able to do both. Damister is really taking its sweet time to get the units ready.
Production ready.
Oh wow, they're really quick on those. At this point, I actually think a pair of... I'll wait it out. There are benefits that I get from building them in Damister, so... The war is going to be done by the time...
Sector annexed.
By the time they arrive, though.
Production ready. Production ready.
Okay, so most of these sectors, I probably should be talking a little bit about. These are all things that we were generating from the previous run-throughs. But basically, Truchet is about as well defended as it's going to be. We've got military infrastructure level 3. We've got the banners of protection, And really, at this point, the decision is how many units do I leave for its defense? And it seems to be that as long as I've had at least one unit in Truchet, this has been enough to sort of scare them off. Of course, what we want to do is we want to set our own ticking clock to make the move on Fornoid. But, of course, they now have 3, so what's probably going to happen is I'm going to finish the mission in the rugged... Actually, this is a tricky call. It might be better for me to take Fornoid and some ZR1 before doing the mission in the rugged mountains, for the simple reason that probably once we finish the Black Citadel quest, all of the void's going to go away, and we're going to have to deal with this little area here. So... All right, so they look like they're committing to nasty business. So, sort of as a precaution, I think I am going to move this unit back to Truchet. If nothing else, just getting them into a little pattern where I sort of move aggressively to pull them away, and then I head back to the base will keep them from protecting Foranoid and eventually some ZR1. And then, of course, we can sort of swoop in and clean up the group afterwards. These guys are definitely not going to be arriving in time for the fight, but... So I've got one turn before this Paladin's done. I think I'll actually just start... So I can see a small benefit in the residential exploitation, but I think it's probably better that I just commit myself to getting the full army built. Yes, the taser is where I wanted to go. That's 3 turns apiece. Okay, I'll do one of them, but I think at this point Townsend Folly's got to produce the other. And that'll take 1 turn, so in this case I will put it after the industry. Okay, Haven Spire is ready for expansion, and I always feel bad when I'm coming back to a game after some time away, because I can never quite remember what the expansion plans were. I feel like we were heading a little more westward for this one. Energy is also a really big deal for me, so this is more attractive. This is reasonably attractive because it also has the terraforming outpost. It's really the food-dominant ones that aren't all that appealing to me. The one thing that I do like about this particular area is that it does give me access to the science and eventually Cosmite. I just don't really think that's going to be something in the near future for us. So let's say the upheavals. And interestingly enough, given that there's no special resource in there, this might actually be a decent spot for an orbital relay. I might need to think about that.
Happiness event in colony.
One interesting addition to the game, I don't know if this can happen because I never build orbital relays, but it'd be interesting to see whether or not you can destroy orbital relays as a precaution. So if you have, like, think the enemies are about to take the bridge, right? You gotta stop them from doing the bad things. And so what you do is you blow up the bridge to make sure that they're not able to do the terrible things they plan to. I've got more than one. Oh wow, I really was asleep at the switch when I was building this out. Okay, well, let's do energy exploitation out of necessity. Yeah, I'm just going to leave Haven Spire on autopilot here.
Operations available for priming.
I don't think I could really respect myself if I said, you know, in the research screen, we really need to find a way of getting energy, and I don't take a free slot for energy exploitation. Now this is interesting. This will be very complicated if they go after my bees. So I'm going to get a little distance for them. The good news is it'll take them a while to go around the mountain. As for the rest, you know, we'll get this... We want to get this group together reasonably quickly, but we should be able to make the move on Foranoid more or less right away. And I'm going to tempt fate a little bit here. They shouldn't be able to access this guy right away. But yeah, the ideal would be that we're actually able to get Draskell as well as these 3 units and the bees to come in on the attack on Foranoid.
Enemy operation detected.
Alright, our enemies have begun a thorough purge of their operations, personnel, and systems, a process that should take 2 turns. We should withdraw our agents immediately lest they be discovered, so no detection chance. Which is good to know. I might actually try and steal some more money off of them. But we'll wait for the purge. It would be stupid to start a covert
Sector
operation
annexed.
during a purge.
Production ready.
Okay, so we've got the Paladin as we were expecting.
Production ready.
Norzadal... I guess we can afford to build the throne now, seeing as we're not really... And the unexploited sector... This would be food if I felt like it. I don't really need the extra food, but... I don't like having unexploited sectors. I mean, I guess the other answer would be this would be one for the orbital relay, but it is something of a walk to the areas I need to be. So maybe I'll save that for later. And we'll go for a research. At Legion Nights, how was my Christmas? It could have been better, to be honest, but I had a really great time with Hollow Knight. So that was a pleasant side effect. That was a pleasant sort of diversion. And then I really enjoy Age of Wonders Planetfall, so I'm happy to be back here. But I do feel a bit bad that I started so late. I mean, I'm pretty much...
Objective completed.
20 minutes into the time I'd be saying... Like the first 2 times I'd be saying I'd be wrapping up, so... How about you? How was your Christmas? Be thanked, Symbiote. You helped us blossom, we share the fruits. Okay, so that was a quest that
Now
they gave
that
us.
we've discovered how to extract every possible detail from our research and created some truly wondrous things, let's document the process and then claim that's how we did it all along. Ryan Colkins, Configuration Manager.
Okay, so... I may want to be considering some more strategic operations now. The operational strength would definitely be quite welcome. Actually, let's start with loyalty to the flag because of the Warden's banner. I'm currently sitting on a bunch of
Operations
doctrine
available
points
for
that I'm not
priming.
using. The problem is that I'm not really sure. At the moment, I don't think there's any... 200 morale in battle against other players. Well, you know what? I think I can work with that. Hello, Night Valian. You've beaten the wave of ads. Yeah. So, I think it's fair to say that the ads only happen at the start of the stream, right? So for those of you who don't broadcast on Twitch, and that's a very small group now. Everybody's got a Twitch channel. There is the way that Twitch does the ad thing is there is a timer on your dashboard. And for that period of time, yeah, I'm not going to be able to cross the territory to get where I need to be. So, I don't know about next turn, but the hope is that we're going to be able to put these guys into little triangles of power. But yeah, so with the ads, there's a little timer. So if you voluntarily turn on ads, there is a period of time where
Empire task completed.
apparently they won't
Production
play.
ready.
And what I'm trying to decide here, so I think what could be happening is
Production ready.
because I and other people are not turning on the ads during the broadcast, whenever somebody starts watching, they get hit by the ad, which technically maximizes the number of ads that get seen, I think. And so one of the things, like, this is a test that I'd like to run, but I don't really want to run this test without having a bunch of people really knowing what's going on. Because personally, like, I've got a channel which I used to watch a lot more regularly while ad blockers were still working. And I did not realize how quickly they do, or how frequently they do ad breaks, and I've stopped watching as a result. Which I realize sounds entitled as hell, right? Because it's like, well, look, you know, they actually do this stuff. They, you know, they make this stuff has a cost to them. You know, they are providing you free entertainment, or at the very least, the cost is the one that it's always
Doctrine
been,
enacted.
which is, you know, the ability to advertise to you. But if somebody's willing to help me do that experiment, I would actually be interested in seeing whether or not like voluntarily putting in an ad at some point during the broadcast would stop people from having to see them when they start. So. Yeah, like Adblock used to work a lot better, and apparently there are some workarounds, but I just haven't been able to find something that reliably works out. Like I understand it's a hard problem that a lot of companies are dealing with, which is how to get people to watch the ads, or you know how to get monetization in. But I definitely think like everybody's got the same opinion about Twitch ads right now, which is that right now. It's very heavy-handed, and it is overall diminishing the enjoyment of broadcasts. Okay, we're not building a forward base. So it looks like these guys are basically committing to Truchet. This is going to be a hard fight.
Enemy operation
Okay,
detected.
internal purge failed. We lost Hollow Deep. Oh, right. I see exactly why that happened. It's because basically we took over J6 Nevix, which is good. But in so doing, because we didn't hold this territory, the assembly now have it. Okay, so what I got to think about here is how far can I move my units in a way that's not going to result in them getting clobbered by the bad guys? And I don't really want to consider this unit sort of my strongest backup. Alright, here we go. I probably shouldn't save here because the attack on Truchet might be a little bit more than I can handle, but... Oop, don't explore! Okay, so we're gonna move to Townsend Folly. That's gonna be where the next unit comes from. It still cracks you up how unimpressed the leader looks. I never got that until until you mentioned it in chat. But everybody takes their own their own experience from the game. Who else was it? Which is the Crab Coast? Sorry, I was still trying to figure out where how I should organize my my forces. Beef Bay, Maniacal Morass. I didn't realize, like, I knew that there were some fun names. I didn't realize they were that plentiful. Okay, now I really want to know where the Crab Coast is. Oh, right here. Okay, so our best bet is to just stand and support. I think one...
Operations available for
Oh, you know what?
priming.
I'm really short on energy. Yeah, that's going to be a big problem. Okay, so I definitely need the energy, so we're going to set up an energy siphon. We're not going to have the money right away, but we are going to send it to the bad guys. We get one extra turn to wait. The hope here would be that I get to do a strategic operation where we get a protector program. Paladin Protector will patrol the target-friendly colony. When friendly armies fight in the target-friendly colony, a Paladin Protector will aid them in combat. The Protector disappears at the end of combat. So that will kind of give me one extra unit of help. But it looks like these guys might actually be real. They might mean it this time. So we'll see how they move next turn. But the good news is that if they've sent their A-team to go and take us at Truchet, it means that they've effectively given up this territory.
Production ready. Production ready.
Also, for those of you who don't know him, Knight Valian is someone... I've actually been truant from his stream lately. So it was Jenny Leclue when I last saw you, but I feel like you might have moved on since then, because I've missed a couple of streams. But anyways, for those of you who have not heard my ranting and my enjoyment of Knight Valian, he is a wonderful Brazilian streamer who I kind of started watching after... I don't know, just I got to see him through Lucifer Within Us, the Kit Fox game, and basically came back, and every game he kept playing just kept being really great. So I've kind of been captured through the quality of his broadcast. Now this one always interests me. It makes me feel like they're coming after something like Snow Forest or Calm Expanse. They're definitely not retreating. Which creates its own problems for me, to be honest. But I think...
It is easy to prophesy doom. Fear is the slavery of our past. True prophecy comes from choosing a possibility of hope when others see only doom. See with certainty and you will speak with divine authority. You won't see it all, but someone will believe and make that prophecy a reality. Nella Marsdaughter, Seeress of the Sapphire Star.
So, Expedite Doom, this is the one that can potentially kill multiple units in a 2-hex radius. Now, I can try for future military tech. Target-friendly colony has 20 industry and income. Not really worth it to me right now. So what I'm trying to look for right now is, so Fatalism and Adversity and All units in target army get adversity for 3 turns at the start of next combat. So orchestrated manipulation is going to be the other part of the handful.
Imagine if you could be
hammer and anvil.
saved by merely looking through a strip of cloth on a pole. You will not disrespect this flag. Loyalty to our oath-bound banners inspires honor and fosters unity. It is a way of acknowledging that we all deserve the core dignity of life, freedom, and compassionate care. Wella Sharp, Paladin Standard Bearer.
Okay, so these are these are a little harder for me because they're social research and I don't have a direct plan for those yet. I suppose we should just maybe consider more strategic operations. Dislocate armies, falsify atrocities, target player's vision, steal cosmite. Yeah, it's really the operational strength that I would want. So, you know what? I think I'm just going to wind up doing some cleanup. Where's the bazooka tree branch? That's the Vanguard. A strangely likable traveling man of diminutive stature told us that he could invent a technology to create a pest repellent device. He said that most creatures do not like ultrasonic sounds. We want this device to protect our mother nodes. Please provide them.
Objective completed.
So it's a little bit of an interruption to our habits. And I'm going to do something that I don't normally do here, which is to sell the rewards. And that's just because I'm going to need to do a bunch of tactical operations pretty soon. So let's take... so this is one of the best stacks that I could build. Unfortunately, they are going to be a bit late to the party. In fact, if anything, they're probably going to have more to say about the liberation of Truchet. So... my normal preference will be... So if I only had one save, I would keep the units in Truchet, and I'm assuming they're going to attack Com Expanse next. I am, however, going to try moving these units up to Com Expanse to see what happens. I don't necessarily think I'll be able to... I don't think I'm going to be able to sort of seal the deal, though, so... I'm not going to put too much investment in taking it. Now, this guy's a little bit of an annoyance to add in. Actually, not. Turns out there is one small advantage that comes out of that. So I'll admit, this is not the placement I had in mind originally. So I do want to see what the AI does with this. Yeah, I'm not crazy about the idea of losing the majority of these units and then also a paladin. So what I'm doing here is this is attacking them in a somewhat weak position and also wiping out the militia. So what we can then do is we can clean out the remaining stack immediately following. Now this is going to be a fairly healthy defensive force though, so I am going to need to think a little bit about the approaches I'm going to take to try and keep myself alive. I do need to put a fairly high priority on taking out these builders. I think they've got like 3 or 4 of them. So the ability to resurrect as well as generate additional units is going to be one that I struggle with. And in this one, I don't think I can afford to try and wait for the big column up the middle. I think in this case, we're just going to rush in and try and manage the situation as best as we can. But, of course, I do get to set up my wall of paladins, and Well, as close to the wall of paladins. This unit's probably going to be a bit of a target, but I can live with that. I'm not going to try and run any of my people too far ahead. I think in this case it's just going to be a very standard, you know, get in range. I'm going to leave all the bees in... you know what? So claws and shotguns. These are the electrocutioners. Nah, change my mind. If we can get a little bit of an early hit on the electrocutioner, that's a benefit. Yeah, Mr. Slimy is something that we got out of an event in this mission. It is worth remembering that all of these units, for at least the first turn, get one free hit. Now, a lot of these people have repeating, and there's probably going to be some area of effect attacks that come in as well. So, I'm going to wind up wasting a lot of the of that benefit. But I figure being able to get in with some early attacks on units that are rather good at harassing my forces isn't the worst thing in the world. Keeping the worker bees, I don't know, they'll be in the area, but I won't commit them too heavily because they're only melee. Okay, so first question for the shock prankster is whether or not it can throw... Actually, I bet it can put a banner down. Oh, but not where I want it. I will still show some discipline, but I probably wound up wasting that time. So the problem with this is actually one of my weaker flanks. The Bombardon is great when I can get it into position, but I don't necessarily want this thing like tanking shots. So one of the things I absolutely must do here is get a unit to defend it. In fact, in general, if I can put my people in under the protection of the paladin, that's good. I'm sure this guy's wondering what he did to deserve this. But... So one problem with this approach right now is that there's going to be attacks coming from every single one of these defensive positions. So at some point, I would like to sort of funnel into to something up the middle. But at the moment, it's not necessarily... Actually, I can start that right now. So it's a bit of a concern because there's 3 of these reconstructors on the side. But the thing that makes reconstructors scary is the fact that they're able to raise enemy units. And so if I can make it so that the enemy units aren't necessarily in... so basically if I can make it so that everything that they get from that benefit is engaging us in the middle, that will hopefully force them to move into a slightly better position for us. So the rest of this is just working. Oh, okay, we've got... These things are pretty fragile. I'm probably being a little too reckless, but it's the first round. I am going to risk... Oh, wait, we've got the undo button, so... Yeah, Burning Banner never had a hope. Actually, you know what? I'm going to commit to that move anyway. On the odd chance they try some funny business, now we've got the Overwatch. So let's see what their response is. So we knew this was coming. We've got potentially 5 sets of new units that come in through that method. And then, of course, they can bring back dead units. Now, one thing I'm trying to be very careful about here is not to use the insta-kill ability. If I can use that for any attack that the enemy... Oh, yeah, I didn't think this thing through actually. So if I'm waiting to see how the attack on Truchet turns out, I'm gonna have to redo all of this. I'll have to think about that. But yeah, so I'm going to try and minimize the use of tactical operations here to basically to just make sure that I'm able to use them for my defense. The good news is we're not in the worst. So the one thing I'm a bit worried about are the overwhelming numbers, but we do have some AoE units, which hopefully we're going to be able to turn into an edge against these guys. And again, like, this flank is not all that well protected. This is a little bit more entrenched, but basically if we can make it so that one of these units winds up sort of sweeping in and clearing out the enemy, I'll be happy. So, like, case in point, this is not a bad way to just clear out that ad.
Enemy
oh wow, we also got the... Okay, that went a lot better than I thought it was going to. So now I don't need to dedicate one of my paladins to taking that unit out. So these are never going to finish the job, but they're locking down enemy units into bad spots. I'm a little nervous about my... It's a bit unusual that this Lightbringer's not able to attack. I'm going to do a quick save here just in case. So I would have thought the Lightbringer would be able to attack this this unit up here. Oh, they're out of range. Okay, that's fair. And I keep forgetting about the the undo button. I kept complaining about it. Now that it's here, I don't use it. Okay, I do have a plan for this guy. I have, however, created a small problem. Ooh. It's actually a much bigger problem than I thought, so I might wind up losing this scry. Well, okay, I don't feel good doing this, but... It's a cleansing light. So I'll commit this unit to something a little bit more meaningful. As you can see, sort of the density of enemy units are inside this area, so if I can get the burning banner somewhere in there, that's better. Now again, a lot of these are ads, so it's not the end of the world if I can't take them out, but... Alright. Start with Mr. Slimy. At this point, I don't really see any need to get fancy on some of this stuff. Being able to...
Enemy eliminated.
So basically, being able to take out some of this frontline stuff with my low-cost units, what that's going to do is that's going to give me some pretty clear targets for the paladins to focus on. I really hope this finishes them off, but I think we're just... Oh,
Enemy annihilated.
That's particularly good news for me. Because even if this guy's hard to take out, we should have some other people free to bring in some misery. I will move them back the one. I'm trying to be a bit conscious. So notice what that did, right? This whole center area has now just been cleaned up. So I can either engage the enemy directly over here, or I can start barreling units up the middle. I'm not 100% clear which one I'm going to do yet, by the way. I'll start with a burning banner because I can. I probably should have moved in closer, but...
Enemy killed.
I'm so mad that we can't get any closer to these guys. It's like, this is a total waste of a paladin to take on a unit like that. Alright, well, I guess at the very least we'll be able to do our shield wall. So it seems to me our answer is just barrel up the middle. So one thing I might have tried differently would have been to try and use the paladins to clear out some of these guys and then use the bees on this higher level here. But it's obviously too late to... It's too late to consider that. I didn't mean to move that unit. Alright, that's inconvenient, but I'll work around it. Oh, you know what? Okay, I only get... That's fair, I only get one undo. Yeah, so we're gonna go single file against that fortified position. That's maybe not so great, but... Can't... Okay, I can only heal biologics. Didn't have much in terms of expectations there, so... I wasn't thinking I would do this, but I'm actually going to run this guy out ahead and we'll put the burning banner down in the middle of the entrenched area. Because this is pretty much already done. Now, I don't know about the time warp, so fast... it's the fast movement and slow movement. Okay, that's why everything got weirded out on the side. We may wind up losing a unit off of that.
Unit has fallen.
So that's just them dealing with the burning banner. Not too worried about that.
Fallen,
Yeah, so
but not forgotten.
if we waste all their time trying to trying to take out burning banners, I'm in good shape. Okay, I will admit I am a bit surprised that these 2 units are still standing, but I think my best bet... I don't have a good... Well, okay. I'll get the Bombardon to do its thing. So the hope here is that my other units are going to be able to take out the... Not looking good. Okay, well, what I gotta do here... Oh, this isn't gonna heal enough. I don't feel good doing this at all, but... No, there is one other option. I need to take at least one of these things out.
Enemy killed.
But we are going to get hit by the 2 towers again, so that's still going to be a pretty heavy hit. I'm debating about, you know what? I think in this case, just clearing. So this isn't a great use for my archer,
As the Oracle foretold.
but I think being able to clear out nuisances is still useful. This guy's going to get energy to the back, which is again not my favorite outcome, but we have to deal with the fact that we may still have a debuff on us. And one thing that is going to get freed up is my my air corps. The soldier bees are going to be able to do a little bit more. Now, arc grenades don't exactly do a world of hurt on these guys. I was debating on it for the area of effect, but I obviously decided to hold off there. I'm gonna guess I don't have... Oh my god, I do have the range. Alright, I hope this does the stun that I want. Well, it's a stag... Stagger's still enough, so what I was really trying to avoid here was the Vorpal shot. And that'll still keep me happy. Okay, so I'm gonna get... We're actually going to ignore the Lightning Rider. I don't really believe that I can't reach the Lightning Rider, but in this case I do want to at least lock down the snipers. Oh, I thought... Yeah. Well, we can still work with this. So mostly this is just about trying to lock as many enemy units down as I can. So if they try to do something, the retaliation winds up costing them fairly dearly. I don't think I'm able to take someone out with a single great bow shot. Well, technically this unit, but it doesn't really do anything for me. Excuse me. This unit can't move without any of the other units moving. So in this case, let's maximize the damage. Okay, now we've got these fellows in play. But this unit is a bit damaged, so I hate when I do this, but I am going to pull them back. I also forgot that I had a free paladin. Now, I'm going to guess that they can't do the... Yeah, they're not in range. So, now I've got my air corps. And this is going to be a little silly, but I'm going to rely on volume over...
Enemy
All right.
eliminated.
So, like, the chance to hit is atrocious for most of these guys, but I have a lot of them, so...
Enemy destroyed.
Okay, that's actually pretty decent. Under normal circumstances, I would have peeled them off to help on this side, but that's obviously too late to do that. If I was gonna, redirect them, I should have done that earlier. So this was definitely less about sort of delivering kills, more as just being able to, this was more about delivering kills rather than maximizing damage. I sort of knew that with enough poison spits, we would be able to take out at least one of the units. But this turned out a bit better than expected. We wound up taking 2 units off of that move. The augur isn't really all that damaged. Now, one thing I can try and do is the Curse of Fatalism. The thing is, I don't know if there's any one enemy I want to make particularly easy to hit. It just seems to me better to start taking pieces off the board.
As the Oracle foretold.
One of the really important things for me later will be if I can get my units to a point where we can start doing our healing moves. So I've got a bunch of paladins that'll be able to heal units on the final turn. And as long as I can organize everything in the right way, we'll actually basically have a fresh army ready to go to take the city.
Unit lost.
Oh, wait, that was the banner. Okay, that's good. So we knew that was coming. For all my talk of prioritizing the reconstructors, the fact of the matter is I just haven't been able to get a good angle on them.
Enemy killed.
I am a bit surprised in the units that the enemy's been trying to take out. It does actually really feel like they've... Ooh! It's a lot more damage than I thought that was going to do. No! And you know what? I don't have an intermediate. I really should have... Okay. I should have done some more intermediate saves. The whole point on this one was to not lose the paladin. This is going to take a little more effort. And that's a particularly egregious case of me refusing to lose units, but... I will admit, I'm at the point where I do need to wrap up the Age of Wonders coverage, so... This might be equally reckless in a different way, but... Although this particular set of moves is something I should have done before because my my melee units are the most movement restricted, so...
Enemy down.
I didn't necessarily feel great about that particular move because I was hoping to do more overall damage to these other guys, but wasn't in the cards. I wasn't expecting that.
Enemy destroyed.
So it's not terrible that my commander isn't able to do anything here, because we're at least able to get some defense on my allies. And I think I will be a bit more aggressive with my prankster. So we now have 2 burning banners on this fortified unit. Okay, so I am going to use Cleansing Light. It only costs me one. It only costs me one tactical operation, and we should be getting a bit better as far as energy is concerned. I'm also going to take the depleting, so I'm going to take them on the left-hand side so that they can help with the worker bees, which I was running into problems with before. And then one nice little bonus here is that all my worker bees have just been freed up to deal with these frontline units. So I think the end result is going to wind up being very similar to the previous round that I had. But I am hoping to maybe mitigate a little bit of the damage I would have otherwise taken.
Enemy eliminated.
And also potentially get... So one of the ways that we can mitigate damage is just getting my units into the fight a little bit sooner. Which is another side effect that might be coming out of this.
Enemy destroyed.
And again, I gotta decide how cautious I want to be with these guys. It would be best if I could find somebody who doesn't have precognition, but also isn't at risk. Yeah. Well, we've got one. We didn't use the Plague Lord? Good lord, what am I thinking? Ah, right. That works quite well for me. That's taken some of the pressure off of my, my paladins on the left-hand side. That's going to be a full Vorpal shot, I think.
Fallen but not forgotten.
Fortunately, it was wasted on the banner. Now, it's annoying that the ads are getting reassembled, but it's actually really good for me that they're wasting that ability on those units.
They shall be honored.
Yeah, they really hate these units for some reason. This unit's definitely taken a lot more damage than I wanted them to, though, so I'm not quite sure how I'm going to handle that. So, the way that I try and triage some of these big battles like this is I think about the units that have the least access. So in this particular case, you know, being able to figure out what these particular paladins are going to be able to do is a pretty big one for me. I suspect we're still just going to have a big bottleneck up front here, but the more units I can sort of clear out with the others, the better off I am. Sadly, I can't do anything with them. That's wild that my chances to hit are better for the people up high. It's because it gets rid of one of the units. Otherwise, I wouldn't
Enemy
do it.
eliminated.
So I got to figure out about healing that guy. I may use one of the cleansing lights. I may not. I'm going to need to think about that. And again, sadly, we're sort of stuck. There's not a lot that I can do as far as using my paladins. Oh, this guy's free though. So again, it feels dumb to wind up
Enemy
having to use paladin
destroyed.
protectors like that, but actually, I suppose I could have moved him in to do that healing move. But let's get real. Like it's just easier for me to spend the energy in tactical point. 2 tactical points are not gonna break the bank. So this guy, clearly seeing the damage that they could do last time, I'm feeling a bit nervous. What I am hoping to avoid though is another bottleneck, and I'm definitely in danger of that. So this guy's fairly fresh. I'm going to move them around the side. I may even wind up taking damage doing this, but yeah.
Enemy down.
That's a Luna, so I don't really want her to be messing around with that. This is going to be such an inefficient movement.
Enemy annihilated.
Now, it's not the greatest thing in the world that this guy who... Actually, you know what? I'll keep them all bundled up. I was going to say, like, it was tempting to move them up
Enemy
against
annihilated.
these units up here, but the fact that this unit's already taken some damage, I think is just going to turn them into a liability like they were last time. I still don't know what I'm doing on this. So the tempting thing is to just slap them with the sabers, but that leaves the bees wide open. One thing I could do would be move a little closer. So what I'm trying to do is hit the bat. Yeah, see, that's not going to finish the job. Technically neither is this, but it's a better chance to hit. Alright. Now, unfortunately, I don't get to put that healing banner down anymore.
Enemy down.
But at the very least, we've cleared... Oh no, the bees are still up. Good God.
Enemy down.
Alright. We've already got a burning banner down. I think probably at this point I'm going to try and do what I can to take out the sniper. I don't think there's any hope. Well, okay, there's a small chance I'm going to be able to...
Enemy
It's unbelievable I
destroyed.
needed to do that, but it worked, so I shouldn't complain too much. And again, we're going to take sort of sheer force of numbers to take out the sniper here. Not much we can do about this guy, but alright.
Enemy killed.
It's a little earlier than I thought we were going to get, so now we will focus on clearing out whatever bad guys we can with the surplus. The funny thing about this is I can't really point to a lot of cases where the numbers necessarily kind of moved in my favor on the attacks.
Enemy destroyed.
But you're kind of seeing the difference. And again, this is more so for my educational benefit rather than any overall sort of, I guess, quote-unquote rule of Planetfall. You know, if I was thinking, I probably would have been able to move the bee over to the side here and take him out. This isn't the move I normally would have made, but let's try and clear out the...
Enemy destroyed.
it wasn't necessarily obvious to me that I had a better move than clear. I mean, that is arc damage, which I'm weak to, so being able to remove a source of arc damage is not terrible. And it does allow me to move this unit a little bit closer to the action. Actually, sorry, before I do this, because this is going to be one of these cases where I stupidly lose a unit. I'm trying to move them in so that they can be part of the heal party afterwards. But I can also sort of see them being a prime candidate for a wicked sniper shot. Not in range for the sniper shot, turns out, but still. There's lots of ways that it can go bad. The auger is still kicking around. It's really more just because I can. So, the rules for the rest of this round are basically don't die and leave with as much health as you can by the end of this. This is going to be a particularly tricky one to do. Because we might be able to end this round, but it's not clear that we're going to be able to end it without using up the paladins, and the paladins are going to be the thing that allow me to heal. See, they love going after those guys. So as is tradition, first thing I got to do is actually finish the engagement. So we don't have any enemies to face here. These guys I'm going to reserve for their ability to heal. But I'm not actually going to take advantage of it until we know everything else is taken out. And right now what I want to do is I want to take as many units that have the ability to... I want to take as many units that have the ability to do damage and start using them on whatever enemies the paladins would otherwise have to deal with. In the worst case scenario, so like here... Oh wow. I might be hitting my own guys, but... Okay, that's better than I thought we were going to get out of that, so... It's like, here's a great example. This kind of unit is not going to have... Oh, hang on, they are going to have a role to play. Again, whatever chip I can get on the... Alright, still wasn't enough. If I can put fatalism on that. Yep. So that's just going to make them easier to hit when the time comes. I will admit though, it's... Hey Joshy man, how you doing? I'm really not all that convinced about my ability to finish this turn. And I'm actually getting to the point where I need to start making some hard choices about what I do with certain units. So for instance, my bees, the more of them that I can send to the right-hand side of the map, the better. But I could just be throwing them into into an engagement that's just not worth the effort. So here's one thing I can think of. The paladins on this side don't need to do that much healing. So I'll use that to my advantage.
As the oracle foretold.
And then what I can start doing now is I can start... Well, all these paladins need some healing. Oh, more importantly, none of them can reach this guy. Yeah, that's kind of a detail I should have been focusing on. Okay, well, that makes... This actually makes my life a lot easier to deal with then. Basically, we know there's a limit to the amount of damage and the amount... Like, there's only so much we're going to be able to do. We know we're not going to be able to heal everyone. We're effectively, I know that I'm not going to be able to have an army that's at 100% health at the end of this engagement. That's fine. What I am going to do, though... Eastern time. And I actually... I started very late tonight, so you picked a good day to come in. So this kind of winds up being a bit wasteful, but it's a way of making sure that this guy gets healed. Oh. Wasted. So he at least shouldn't die. If he does, I'm just gonna lose it. Oh, I screwed up though. If I was going to do that, I should have made sure that that this guy was in with the heals. Okay, well that's life. I'm going to try and position myself to make the most of the current turn. I'm pretty sure we don't see this thing through to the end for this guy, but... At this point, the worker bees get to be a bit more aggressive, because even though there are defensive structures that are going to be able to... that are going to be able to have their turn, it's pretty clear. I don't think they're going to be able to do anything to take out any given unit. So I still am going to try the same thing I tried before, and sort of do these 1 in a million shots on the distant units, at least the ones that can reach, and then sort of anything left over goes after our other assembly friend. I think we only have one other bee that can go after this guy. But again, the focus on this really is about not losing units, and then of course secondary. Actually, I don't even need to roll the dice. Like we'll just do the cleansing light, and then I can stop worrying. Actually, they might be kind of helpful on this. Well, okay, let's see how it goes with the bees first. There you go.
Enemy annihilated.
So now I can use this guy on the final unit. So I'm going to move this Paladin Protector over on this side, because now the focus is how do I distribute the healing best. I don't think they're going to be close enough to get the heal on the ally that needs it. But okay, we'll save that for next turn. So again, the best case scenario would have been one in which I was able to take out this unit on this turn, but the amount of damage they should be able to do to us is fairly minimal. We have lost our ability to do some of our heals, but not. It's not catastrophic. So you're going to see a lot of that, basically. And they went for the heal. Okay. So at this point now, what I want to do is every unit that's not going to be involved in the fight, I want to make sure that they are they're in a spot where they're going to be healing allies. So something like that. Basically, every bit of healing that I can get in before the big moment is now on the table. Put this guy as close as I possibly can towards the big heal. Plague Lord's not really going to be able to do anything. So these guys sadly already had their healing moments, so they're going to be a little bit weak for the real attack. I suppose we can make ourselves slightly useful. That is technically my defensive turret I'm destroying now, but... Oh, actually, you know what? These things are probably going to be back for the main attack on the city. I probably should have been a little more careful in taking those out. Anyways, nothing to worry too much about. So again, doing whatever little heals I can on my my secondary units over here. If I get a chance to use them for extra attacks, that's good. But I'm fairly convinced. Like at this point, I'm just assuming through the sheer volume of attacks, we're going to be able to see this thing through to the end. Okay, so now she's kind of blocking the path, but there we go.
Our forces are victorious.
So I guess it was like after 3 reloads, we were able to avoid losing the majority of the bees and the paladin. And then, of course, the key here is that when we want to take Foranoid, we now have just a severely diminished assembly. So, yeah, first try. So there's, again, a little bit of a balancing act in terms of making sure that you've got the proper... So again, I'm mildly curious if I do an auto combat if it's going to lose any units. They lost a worker bee. As it was, I was going to at least watch the replay to see whether or not the turrets come back. But now that I know I'm going to lose something. What? Oh, that makes me mad. If you siege down, and I mean, it would just make the defensive structures that much more unattractive to use. So I can see why you'd want to rebuild them, but you know, if you have a big fight for a city and you take down the defenses, and those defenses are back not even a turn later, shake my fist at them. Okay, so looks like the best we could hope for would be to throw a burning banner on the bad guys. So one of the things I want to try and do here is avoid damage. These guys are ridiculous, by the way. I do want them in on the attack as early as possible. Yeah, I think it's fair to say I'm actually quite nervous about some of these units running in, just because they are going to be hit in a kind of caught in a crossfire between to I don't think I get the Oath of Loyalty anymore. Yeah, so I can actually afford to put them up one unit like this. It's just to maximize the coverage of the adjacency. Well, that's a shame. Whoa, what's going on here? All right. Well, if that's true, if I move one back, all right. Yeah, I'm really just kind of chipping in whatever damage I can. This is not the highest priority target that I could be focusing on, but the earlier I attack, oh, this is such a shame. I will still focus on the enemy unit. I wanted to hit the turret, but wasn't worth it. Gandalf, 471st of their name. Thank you very much for the follow. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Enemy down.
All right, so if I can take this thing out, so much the better. I'm pretty doubtful that this out. Yeah, this Oathbound can't even reach it. But I don't exactly want to make a meal out of this thing, but I'd also prefer to avoid sort of unnecessary damage on my units. Actually, I wonder. No, there's no better option. Okay, so what I should do instead is just get my my shield wall back up. We know we're going to get hit by arc damage, and we know it's going to make us sad, but we can at least put up our shields to make it less painful than it otherwise would be. Yes, if only the ability to issue orders in a particular tone would decide the wars. I'd be at the top of the leaderboards for every game. But so I'm pretty sure I just closed off the opportunity to do any burning banners this round, but that's fine. You don't have to throw everything at the enemy the first round, so. I don't want to get too aggressive. So the exacting or the scryer units are just apparently there's something about them that makes the AI like really want to hit them. And to my view, kind of consolidating the entire army into this sort of central area. So the way that this works, if you're an attacker and you don't actually do anything, I believe the siege just ends and you lose it. So I am going to need to make a move. Fortunately, though, there are ways that I can sort of bend that to my own advantage. So, for instance, if I want, I can just sort of move my column up the middle here, and yes, we'll wind up getting hit by these turrets, but eventually we're going to chase these guys down, whether they like it or not. And that's kind of going to be how I focus the positioning of my units here. What I don't want to do is have a full-on engagement with this stack against my B stack. Clearly this B stack is intended as support. And under normal circumstances, I would have actually sent them forward to get sort of the first sort of preliminary chip damage in. But the fact of the matter is that this is sort of where the concentration of enemy forces are, and I would much prefer to force an engagement in the middle. So if they do what I think would be the smarter thing and say, okay, well, if you want to take this city, you're going to have to come for it. They won't come out of their walls to attack me over here. If they do, we're in a hardened position. And if the AI is, you know, smart and it says, okay, well, look, if you want this city, you're going to have to fight for it. What I'll be doing in that case is I'll be moving the units up through here. And essentially what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to limit the number of turrets that are firing at me at any given time. Given the fact that the assembly have arc turrets, it's going to be something. That so we're weak to them, and effectively every turret that gets to take a shot is damaged. So I guess I put it to you this way: if I focus on one area, there's going to be 2 turrets that can attack me. If I have my army spread across the entire battlefield, then what's going to happen is I'm going to have the maximum number of turrets hitting me for damage. Now, fortunately, the burning banners are apparently the one that the turrets decided to... Oh, great, so we completely avoided all the turret damage. And wow, he's bold! I'm assuming it's an AoE attack. Nope. Alright, well, they just handed me the base. I mean, it's going to be a nuisance to get this guy, but...
Operations available.
Okay, so I want to see how many paladins I can throw into this this problem. Now, this is not my favorite way of handling this, because of course I have my back-facing turrets, but what I want to do is try and get the maximum number of paladins in a position where they can attack these units. So this one's locked down this turn, I don't need to kill it. And again, this is following that same principle that I have of sort of moving the melee units first, because these are the ones that are going to be the most restricted in the types of attacks that they can do. Unfortunately, they're also going to be... why did he get disabled? Oh no, he's moved. That's... No, hang on. I should have paid closer attention as to why he got stunned. But yeah, so the melee units are going to be the ones that are going to have the sort of the most bottlenecks or the greatest difficulty sort of accomplishing what they want. Sadly, I'm not able to do anything too exciting with this Paladin champion, so we'll just move them up. If you can start them off on a full turn, it gets very exciting. Now, one thing that is kind of nice is this Bombardon is it's not able to do that much. So I'm going to move them up. This is still a somewhat weak unit. Like, this turret's still going to be a bit of a problem. If you're ever unsure about what they're going to be able to attack... Actually, I don't need to be stupid. Like, I can take advantage of the, you know, the small benefits I have. But being able to...
Enemy
So now this source of damage to this this group is gone. So the potential sources of damage to my army, this turret and this turret and this turret, as long as I don't move my people across this line, which again, notice where the guy is in here, we're only going to have one potential source of damage. It also gives a very natural target for any of these people who are sort of stragglers and not able to do any other activities during the fight. So we'll take this Watcher. Now, there's always a temptation for me to just reinstate the shields, but or the precognition. But I don't know. I do tend to prefer to be offensive just because it's, if you don't actually finally attack someone in a game like this, they will eventually wear you down and you'll lose. So again, these are melee units. If anything, they're just going to wind up blocking the pathway. So I'll get them taken care of, and then we can move on to more pressing matters. So these wind up being the more interesting units, the phase shift. In fact, so this is one of my heroes, Tristan. So I'm going to move them up. And then yeah, we'll move them up. And I dislike these guys enough. This is a source of arc damage as opposed to these other ones, which are biological damage. So the I mean, number one, it's a higher tier unit too, which probably would have made it a prime candidate anyway. But in this particular case, being able to eliminate a source of arc damage when I've got so many paladins running around is preferable. Now this guy may wind up targeted by the turret because for some reason the AI really likes to take out the scryer units. It would have been smarter for me to attack this bee actually because it's not stunned, but I got a little careless. I don't believe I'm allowed to undo... Yeah, I'm not allowed to undo attacks like that. But I can just be more careful with my follow-up attacks. So a lot of this is going to be about just getting as close as I can to the action. So this Lightbringer, these ones they only have one attack. Or sorry, they only require one time unit for the attack. And they're... my idea with these is that if you don't move them the two time units worth, unless you just simply have nowhere better to be, you haven't used them. You haven't sort of used them to their highest potential. So the reason why I say that for this guy, actually, if I put the burning banner down, not as exciting as I thought it would be. So moving them up like this means that in the following turn, I should be able to take out the inspector if it's still standing. Hey, Remarkable Frisbee. It was recently told, and it seemed credible, that it's harder to program a stupid AI than a smart AI in games. It's tricky. Let me think about that, Joshy man, because I don't have any experience in AI programming. There's a couple of things that I've heard from people who have done it. These are like interviews that I've listened to, which had some perspectives on that. But I did want to say, yes, actually, so a bit of good news for you. I started late, so I'm going to be streaming for a bit longer than you normally get to see. So thank you very much for stopping by, Remarkable Frisbee. I hope you are doing well. Yeah, so the one thing I've heard about with AI is that players really like to accuse you of cheating, no matter how, what you've actually done. So apparently, I got this in the. So for those of you that don't know, Soren Johnson does a really wonderful set of interviews with game designers called Designer Notes. And he got to interview his former boss, Sid Meier, on one of them. And apparently, so he worked on AI for Civilization 3 and then was designer for Civilization 4. And apparently, so one of the things they were talking... Oh, unbelievable. Okay. Again, if I can take out the bee, so much the better.
As the Oracle foretold.
So second best will be if we can get some healing in, but first best would be if we can actually take out this inspector this turn. So anyways, apparently, they put all this effort into making the AI for Civilization play well, But they also impose certain restrictions, which was like, you know, the AI cannot rely on information that would not be available to a player. And they did it. It was actually apparently a very good AI. And the problem is that they were still accused of letting the AI cheat because it was beating players. And let's face it, players never like to get beat. I don't like getting beaten by an AI.
Our forces are victorious.
So I don't know if that's where they're going. I definitely, like, so when I try and sit down and think about, there's a couple of ways that I can think about how it may or may not be easy to do. And again, I'm going to preface this by saying I don't know anything. It was one of the ideas making a poor AI and making the AI not omnipotent. Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, okay, I see what you mean. So like basically you're doing a set of okay, no, I think I get what you're saying there. Yeah. So if the idea is that you want to create an artificial player for the game as opposed to a set of rules, or well, no, a set of an AI, I guess, kind of would count as a set of rules. No, I think I get what you're saying though. Now you're actually trying to make certain decisions, and yes, I can sort of see where you're saying. Like one thing I could imagine that we're probably at a point now where, you could probably sit down and you could do, you know, some crazy deep learning application where the game plays against itself, you know, nigh infinite times, and you just wind up with this absolute killer, but nobody would want to play against it. So, and then I don't know if there's any interest in it making like boneheaded mistakes to let you win. Like you don't want the thing to throw the game either. But I also have to imagine, like, I would be really interested in seeing the number of game designers that come out of sort of creating, you know, our opponents in these sorts of games. Because obviously you need to understand the rules very well, and you need to be able to explain those rules well enough that the computer's going to understand what to do. But yeah, I'll be honest, like, I don't have a strong view on it, but it's probably just because I don't really know what I'm talking about, Joshy man. All right, so we pretty much always go for absorbing. If we raise it, we lose reputation, and if we migrate the colony, we lose the reputation, so we will absorb. One of the reasons we're taking the approach that we are here is I'm running with the fear that as soon as we complete this quest, the void's going to go down and we're going to have a bunch of angry assembly coming after us, which is why I've potentially allowed Truchet to be overrun. Speaking of. Yeah, I'll do another just in case. All right, Norzadal is currently in low morale, but we're already working. So I was a little bit late with the recreational dome, but we're where we need to be with that. I think probably we should just add the botanical gardens right off the bat. Okay, this unit's already moved. So I'll admit, it is I do have a bit of a...
Operations available for priming.
Okay, well, there's a couple things I'm going to do. I've got 10. Put down the protector program. There is also the tempting... Oh, Jesus. Yeah, this is going to be... This is going to be character building if they decide to do the attack. I can get 1 soul fire. Let's see what the Warden's Banner does. Shoot a Flying Warden's Banner in the air at target hex, dealing damage to adjacent enemy ground and air units. The Warden's Banner gives random non-mindless unit in a 5 hex radius 20% crit. God, that is pretty good. I don't know. Let's give him something to think about. And yeah, so I guess the big dilemma for me right now is to decide, do I want to try and take out this base while it's relatively weak, or do I want to go and try and help out Truchet? I think I'm going to move them to Truchet, but I'm not going to move everyone. So the bees will come along. I feel like Iluna kind of needs to go because she's already going to be taken off to the rugged mountains. Okay, so I'm going to leave him in position. Okay, get botanical gardens down. Pretty much need to invest entirely in the infrastructure. Well, we won't have a boss for it yet, so... Okay, that's... Townsend Folly. Ah, so we're not actually generating all that energy I thought we were. We only have one thing to build right now that isn't a unit. I'm going to hold off on building units for a little bit because I don't have any leaders for them, and it's going to take me a while to get them in position.
Production ready. Production ready.
And at some point I should probably also figure out what I'm doing with my food, but I'll hold off on that for now. I am curious to see what happens in Truchet. Aha! So I don't know if that was the program or if that was the... Okay, this is very delicate, but... What I was hoping for was at least one turn, because now I've got allies.
We can rebuild him, or her, or it. Enhancements are unnecessary. Our fallen heroes learn by the very nature of their termination. They say that spending so much time waiting in the void is the greatest of all teachers. Rachel Green, nurse.
Okay. So here I've really just been cleaning up the bits of the research tree that were nice to haves but weren't necessary. So this is admittedly sort of a half-hearted attempt to take this this territory, but... The one thing I don't want to get, if all of a sudden I wind up caught, you know, I've got my, like, 2 units, and then these 2 units, and everybody's not in position to be able to deal with this retaliation, obviously that's one of the worst possible outcomes. But I'm going to try and be a little more careful about that. It is slightly to my advantage to delay this particular engagement, just because it means I can consolidate my units. Okay, these guys are also mad, so we'll give them the recreational dome. We'll actually just start on the botanical gardens as well. As usual, a bunch of military infrastructure. At this point, I'll just admit that these are going to be military focused for a very long time. Chalk does things half-hearted. Yeah. I try to put a lot of effort into a lot of stuff that I do, but I will admit there are times where I just kind of want to get to the fun bits. I'm gonna generate. This is gonna seem like a weird choice, but I'm gonna generate the energy here.
Operations available for priming.
I am mildly tempted to get rid of the builder in favor of another program. So loyalty to the flag sounds pretty tempting right now. Yeah, I should probably switch out the builder for the economist because of the extra income. And while I'm at it, I mean, I have all these strategic operations, so I should probably be taking more advantage of these. So target army or garrison heals for 100%. I should pretty much always be doing Soulfire. And then anything that I can use to... Yeah, so we'll prime that. We're not going to be able to use it right away, but I can live with that. If Townsend Folly is going to be generating energy, we're going to have more than what we know. We're going to have more energy than we know what to deal with. Nordazal's back to... So I think we were going to claim the Crab Coast. This is specifically for Night Valian. It would be nice to grab Piper's Peaks, but the research and the Cosmite is mighty tempting.
Production ready.
Okay, so Trichet's back to there. I mean, we kind of already have everything that we need for Trichet, so we'll leave them
Production
be.
ready.
Same story there.
Production ready. Happiness event in colony. Doctrine enacted.
Okay, so I am going to be very interested to see what happens with the assembly next turn. So they are not able to attack anybody who I consider to be in a threatened position. At this point, we just kind of need to monitor what's happening. Okay, so they are committing to defending their territory. This would be... To me, I think this is probably the best argument to just take this territory now. And then that way we can consolidate our armies and move on. So then we don't need to worry about defending Trichet. We can just move straight onto this group. So... Can I reach it? I can! Oh, this will be good. I'm probably not going to take the field unless I wind up losing units on this. So this is a fairly important one for me. There's a couple of reasons why this is why I wanted to do it this particular way. Being able to claim this, so this will be the last base that isn't protected by the void. What this also does, so if I took this base while these guys were sitting outside of Calm Expanse, there's as much of an argument for them to say, it's like, okay, this base is already lost, so why don't we just start taking territory off the enemy? What happens now is that they're not able to do anything in one turn to really harm me. If I wait next turn, though, then they are going to be able to come in. So if we take this base now, they might turn around and say, okay, we're going to take Trichet. Or they might turn around and say, okay, we need to reclaim one of our sectors, but it means I have my full army ready to swoop in and hurt these guys. And then on top of that, of course, I'm going to have a bunch of operations to make them miserable with as well. So again, this one, time was sort of on my side in terms of being able to get everyone into position.
The universe
Hey,
does not
Starbright Knight,
revolve
good to see you
around
again.
you. But what if it did? Just for a moment. Would you be a vengeful god, or would you intervene against fate to cheat death? Now you understand why this power is not given to anyone. Dinex Tornek, Fate Instructor.
I'm doing all right, Starbright Knight. I'm recovering off of some really weird sleeping patterns, but I think I'll be able to see it through to the end. How are things with you? I haven't seen Ariella online in a while, but it might just be because of my sleeping patterns, as mentioned before. Oh, actually, here's a fun one. I found a gift card. So I've noticed at least a few people I know have started just giving like Visa and MasterCard gift cards. I remember when we introduced these at a credit card company that I worked at. And the problem I had with them were... So, like, I'm never crazy about the fact of, like, giving someone money to give someone money. So, you know, buying a gift card, you know, if you spend $5... So it's like bits, right? I'm happy to get bits. I personally don't use bits that much because I don't like the idea of paying Twitch for the right to pay a broadcaster. And the other thing I didn't care for them is that there's, at least in Canada, a rule that or law that you can't, you can't not honor a gift card. So even if someone's been sitting on it for years, like, you need to accept the, by the way, that doesn't mean you guys can't send bits, those of you that want to. It's just I personally don't use them, you know. The money you've already spent on those bits has gone to Twitch. It's just, for me, I have other ways that I like to support the people who I watch, just in case there was an uncertainty on that. But yeah, so the other thing that I didn't care about these is that after a year, so in Canada, you like, if you issue a gift card, you need to honor that gift card. You can't have it like expire. And so the way that these credit cards get around them is that they start charging a fee after a year. Thank you very much, Joshy Man. Yeah, this is the other thing that kind of irritates me, is that bits don't do anything to... so, like, it used to be that if you subscribe to a channel, you would not have to see advertising. And then it was, well, if you're subscribed to a channel, you're supporting the channel, but you do now need to see advertising. The only way you don't see advertising is if you have, like, Twitch Prime. And I don't know, it just kind of feels like more and more gets like, the value of these kinds of subscriptions gets taken away unless you have... the like thing that goes directly to Twitch, at which point it's like, well, you guys really aren't on my side here, are you? But we've known that, like, that's always been true. So but yeah, anyway, so these gift cards I've always felt a little uneasy about, because while it's nice to have lots of different options, you know, in the end the person is paying for the right to be able to give me money. And on top of that, you know, if you don't use it within the year, then they start, taking... Yeah, they take away the balance until the end. So it's effectively an expiry date, but it's, you know, it's finance. Finance is very good at being able to sort of navigate around regulation. So, anyways. This one was for $25, and oddly enough, so if you buy RimWorld on the Epic Store using one of the coupons in Canada, it's $25.99. So I was quite literally $1 short on this thing, and it won't let me split it up. And what's so annoying is that it's actually 10% off on Steam. So if they applied the same 10% discount to Steam, I would own RimWorld right now. But because I didn't want to, other than paying for recurring things that you don't want on your card. Yeah, well, I mean, I've noticed more people are using them a lot more now, so I think there's probably a taste thing going on. But for me, like, I don't necessarily think it's bad to send cash. I try to be a little more like I enjoy the process of coming up with a gift for someone, so I don't send that. But I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I mean, giving gifts already is a bit of a weird thing. If you're doing it with the expectation of sort of reciprocation, like, it's the least efficient way for you to get the stuff that you want. Giving a gift is about giving a gift. And so, but then, you have I mean, like, I know I'm hard to get gifts for because, I have a decent enough job. Like, most of my money goes towards paying down debts, and most of my, but, like, on the other hand, I don't have any dependents. Like, I do have some disposable income, and my tastes aren't very extravagant, so if I want to get something, I can. Like, I sort of know that if I really wanted RimWorld, I could take out my credit card and I could get RimWorld. I also don't want to go crazy over the holidays and, like, buy every game that I'm not going to be, not going to wind up playing for a while. And so it was sort of like, oh, this thing's probably going to be expiring soon. I should do that. But yeah, I don't know. I think some people do want to do something special, and instead of sort of enforcing a particular store, they wind up getting them. But I agree. Like, personally, I don't use those very often. Yeah. So Ruffles McLeod makes a good point. So at the place I worked, like, so the thing I have here says the perfect gift. This thing cannot be recharged. So at the credit card company I worked, there was one for people who didn't have access to credit or were building credit. Like, there was one specific one that we had, which was for people who were, like, new immigrants looking to build credit. And effectively, you would either put down a deposit, or there would be, it's like a case-by-case thing. Sometimes you wouldn't need to put down a deposit. And in those ones, like, you had access to money. But yeah, no, Ruffles McLeod actually makes a really good point, which is obviously, like, this conversation is sort of being had by a bunch of people who don't necessarily have a hard time getting access to credit. And it's obviously there's a bit more going on. There's another dimension to this that I'm sort of ignoring. But, like, for me, I don't know. Like, I don't. I personally don't use them unless they're given to me. Where else was it? Yeah, a bunch of prepaid cards. So yeah, I should also be clear here. Like, this may also be different for the States. In Canada, like, the thing I have with me right here has specifically written on it, "The perfect gift." And it's basically intended to be something that, instead of the money going to, I don't know, Starbucks or whatever, this is money that's going into the company that administers these things, and they're collecting their fee plus, I'm assuming they get the interchange fees that come from the credit card. Like, usually banks run these. I don't think this is one from a bank. Well, the People's Trust Company. I've never heard of them. Anyways, back when you're 13, you remember... Sorry, I will get back to the game here, but let me catch up with chat, because I actually like this stuff. Back when you were 13, you remember one of your older cousins who was 18 at the time asking, where are your gifts? Your mutual uncle was, you're 18 now, old enough to work and buy your own stuff. Oh, that's really funny. 5DJ did that to you. 7 years later, he did that to his own kid. You agree to respect that, so I buy toys and gifts for small children. Older kids, I might give $20 or something. Adults get a card. You're on the outside of having no credit. You pay for cash with everything except online and have no debts anymore. If you can't pay in full. Yeah, so I behave. So I've got a credit line which has all of the school money on it. So basically, that's the debt that I have. So I'm kind of in the same boat. It's actually one of the reasons why I buy everything on a credit card, because I have of 21.99% reasons to get that thing paid off as soon as possible. So I always pay off the statement in full, but the amount for schooling is definitely more than can be done reasonably at any one point. But yeah, I don't. There are cases where I think taking on a debt is worth it. But usually just buying them for consumer goods is not a good reason. In my opinion, at least. But I will admit, like, it's interesting to hear that perspective on gift giving. I genuinely really enjoy getting gifts, giving gifts. Everybody likes getting gifts. I like giving gifts. So I would, I don't know, I'd find it hard. Like, if somebody asked me not to get them a gift for someone, then, I'd obviously honor that, but trying to decide, like, there is an advantage to me going deeper down the list here. You know what? I'm going to do an Axiom of Light because it lets me generate new units. But I can respect the position. Like, I'm not ready. I don't want to use Soulborn yet.
Operations primed and ready.
I always just kind of thought it was the difference between the expectation and the, I don't know, the nice to do. I don't know.
Production ready.
So I'm running out of steam a little bit in terms of my train of thought, just because there's a couple things that jumped up that distracted me, and then. All right, let me just get back to the game. Sorry to snip the topic. If you want to reprime it, feel free to, but I should probably focus on the game again. Yeah, I like that quite a bit. Starbright Knight. Like, I always felt bad. I used to give a lot of books, and I know that most people generally are not happy to get a book. And I do sort of sometimes feel like I was giving someone a job rather than a gift. But I don't know. I don't think reading's a bad thing. All right. I'm sorry to be scummy on this. I will auto combat, and if I lose a unit, I'll redo it. Otherwise, I'm trying to get to the point where we drop this void. Cool. Okay, so the next problem is going to be like trying to corral the bad guys. So I think the best thing I can do here will tempt fate. So I think if I was playing against a human player, what they would do is they'd sort of move the units in, and then they'd take one of the... Oh, actually, they're all 32? Yeah, no, they'd take one of these ones with 40. Oh, no, but it's going to take... Yeah, no, one of the ones with 40, then they'd just move over and do the attack here. I don't think the AI is going to do that, though. And again, just as long as I don't wind up in a point where they can attack me on the very next turn, I'm okay being a little more aggressive in these movements. Because again, the purpose of all of this is to try and get my people, try and get all my people ready to take out this little trio. Exception will be, we'll finally unite these units. Nowadays, if it doesn't use power, a lot of people are unhappy with the game. Yeah, that's a shame. All right. Oh, so they're just sitting put now. So the war has kind of been dragging on for a bit. We don't have the popular support anymore.
I've never understood the aversion some have to toxins. Nature uses toxins to repel rival life forms. The inability to live in a toxic landfill is just an indicator that we, as a race, need to do a little evolving. Charlene Hester, botanist, Terratech Labs.
So again, similar story. We want to make sure that we're being a bit careful in terms of our movements. We don't want we don't want to run in for the fight until we're good and ready to do it. But we are getting pretty close to the point where we're gonna mop these guys up, and then we can head to the rugged mountains to finish the scenario. So our line is basically here. And we're gonna need all the help we can get when the void finally falls down. So I guess I can start moving my growth units in there. Again, I don't want to be too... now that... that makes for an interesting puzzle. So I don't think we're actually going to be able to come in and take these guys out from this position. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, okay, fair enough. I mean, this should be enough to do the job anyway, but... Okay, Damister, we're sort of on infrastructure catch-up mode for them, so I am going to do a couple of infrastructure projects first. We don't really need the morale right now, so that'll be at the bottom. Oh, you bought Cyberpunk after you saw me play a little bit. Oh man, God will be happy. One of the few games you got for your computer versus your play. Yeah, so buying it on PC is definitely a definitely the done thing. So what did you think of it, Starbright Knight? I definitely didn't want to. So like, you know, I was skeptical of the game going in, and I got what I expected, maybe is the better way to say. I don't actually so I don't necessarily like the fact that people are responding to it the way that they seem to any game that disappoints them, which is it's now suddenly become, you know, this like byword for failure. I mean, that needs work. Clearly, it needs work. But I am curious what people are like, how their experience of the game is going. I don't think there's anything for me to do in Townsend Folly, right? Oh no, that's wrong. There's Cosmite Growth Chambers. This is, of course, why we were saving up.
Production ready.
Okay, so if I can load up any more strategic operations, now would be the time. Ah, yes. Direct Tribulation. Because this is going to be what I can use to kill a whole bunch in a 2-hex radius. And then we can abort the Protector program in Truchet because it's no longer necessary. Yeah, I'm not, like... So, I think the way that I put this before was that there definitely does seem to be this overlap between people who will want to be apologists for CD Projekt Red who also really like talking about how bad EA is and how, Mass Effect 3 was a joke and, Andromeda was just reinforcement of that feeling and so on and so forth. Like, for some reason, there seems to be this... I mean, there are some people who are doing it with both, but I don't think that kind of consistency is necessarily a good thing either. But, like, there definitely seems to be an overlap between the kinds of people who are willing to really stick it to like a given game, or like No Man's Sky. Like, there's so many of examples like this now. But like when it came time for their game, right? Like they'd already bought into it, and so it was all of a sudden every benefit of the doubt for CD Projekt Red and their track record, which I was obviously annoyed by, to say the least. I think I'm gonna. Oh, so I've been in shooting range for these guys the whole time. Okay. I was thinking about how to handle this all wrong. But yeah, anyway, sorry. I'm losing the thread. So, I guess what I was wanting to say is that obviously I don't want the reaction to something like Cyberpunk to be, well, you guys were mean to Mass Effect Andromeda, and so I expect you to be mean to Cyberpunk. Like, maybe the lesson is perhaps we should think about the ways that we're engaging with the games that we're interested in, the products that we like. But I don't know. Also, this is not as strong. For some reason, I wasn't reading. Like, this is not a particularly strong group. I thought each of these were like 6. So I'm being ridiculously cautious at this point. I mean, I've already done it, so I'll wait one more turn. But I should have listened to the dialogue for that. I'm sorry. But yeah, on the other hand, like, so again, like, just because I was kind of going in with a very heavy degree of skepticism doesn't necessarily, and you guys already know that there's kind of the background with GOG and such, but like, I wasn't sort of rubbing my hands waiting for the game to get sort of ripped into. And I suppose it's a little disheartening that, the answer wasn't, oh, maybe I shouldn't have been so aggressive on, on BioWare or whatever. Because this, some of the complaints are actually similarly unreasonable. Like, the idea of getting some bespoke ending based on every single decision that you make in a game is unrealistic. Like, that game's never going to exist, and I don't think anyone has ever claimed that game is going to exist. And the problem that I have with it is that I think it's actually gotten in the way of what I think are some fairly legitimate complaints in terms of the efforts that CD Projekt Red made to... Oh, do we get to put an upgrade in? Oh, no, it's the existing one. Never mind. I do think that the focus on some of the... I would say maybe more irrelevant details has stopped an otherwise useful discussion about
happiness event
the fact that there was a pretty clear attempt to hide the state of the game from console users. And I think that is actually a fairly legitimate complaint that should be talked about a bit more than, oh, well, they said that there was going to be like a cool stat for your clothing or whatever. Yeah, there's a lot of bugs that are very funny. Yeah, I mean, people didn't set expectations too high, but it's also like, an 8-year super arrogant marketing campaign didn't exactly help expectations either. Like, those were expectations that, to a certain extent, CD Projekt Red was as responsible as anyone for building. And I think they had a lot of opportunities to, to sort of pull people back a bit. Which, I mean, I appreciate that's going to have its own, like, that's going to be a challenge in its own way. But I don't know. Oh, so there's some kind of attrition system then? Because these guys have just been vanishing. Alright, well... at this point I'm not going to respect myself if I don't come after them. I'm just shy of what I need to... So I'm going to get her on an early trip to the Rugged Mountains. Okay,
Operations primed
there is
and
actually
ready.
a specific reason why I wanted to do... Oh man, this is going to be such a waste. Okay, I'm going to do the Direct Tribulation. I'm not going to do the Soulfire, though. So this was supposed to be my test run for a particular combo that I was wanting to do. But it is a chance for me to try out this this new army, so... Oh! Oh no, they still have adversity. Okay. So I gotta wait one turn still. But... as long as I don't do anything ridiculously stupid, the plan is just to run in and bash on the bad guys a bit. Not quite ready. So I seem to remember these guys also have some ridiculous abilities. So there's Gift of Foresight, all friendly units in a 1 hex radiance gain a stack of precognition. I didn't realize, when it says stacks, I didn't realize you could have more than one ready to go on it. Curse of Inevitability, ensure enemies will get the worst possible outcome in their defense. All enemy units with one, target 1 radius gain fatalism for 1 turn. Not your time. Heal friendly unit for 40 health. Alternatively, target friendly dead tier 1, 2, or 3 unit is resurrected with half health. Needless to say, I've needed those for a while. So I'm expecting basically everything that I do on this round to basically be a waste of time. But I don't want to... now these guys, on the other hand, I do want to cause some misery on, so... I think we are going to take some nasty damage as a result of this, but the hope is that we'll be able to sort of swarm them enough that we can net out the result. I really hope we don't lose any of these bees. They've served me well. Even though I largely got them to try and make myself seem stronger than I was at a time I needed to get units in the area.
Operations ready.
Okay, so this is kind of the dress rehearsal for this special ability that I've got. Now, first question is, the Voltic is a tier 3, so what we're going to do here is the not atomic collapse. Am I missing something here? I thought we had one that when we inflict... Oh, right, Expedite Doom. So target enemy units in a 2-hex radius get 25 entropy damage. Tier 1, 2, and 3 units with Fatalism or Adversity have an 8 strength chance to instantly be killed. So here is the entire stack that I was going after. Obviously, I was really hoping this would be the one that got owned, but that's not a bad outcome.
Enemy eliminated.
Now, I gotta let the commander show her stuff. And actually, in this case, I think I'm gonna run the Paladin Champion ahead so they can help the bees. Okay, looks like it won't attack my own people, so... Anyways, that's a very expensive ability you use, but that was kind of fun. The question is, how do I apply... the question will be, how do I apply those... Oh, nice. The question is going to be, how do I get those debuffs applied at a slightly more rapid pace? Because really what this is going to mean is that there's going to be one enemy stack that I can do some pretty heavy damage on. But obviously the area that we're going to be running into is going to have lots of enemy units. And I suppose I can sort of nibble at them one at a time, but they're not just going to sit by and wait for me to take them out. Okay, so one obvious step with our bee friends. So here I'm going to try and make up sort of with lots of attacks. Ideally we're just going to move one up and bombard from a distance. Again, we're sort of relying on the number of attacks as opposed to any particular ooh, ugly. As opposed to any particular amount of damage. This is so close to delivering, but... Oh, good.
Enemy destroyed. So
I think there's probably going to be a bit... I think there's going to be the damage that comes from the tactical operations. I don't know, what are we up against? So these guys can't really do anything to flying units. And they just have a shotgun, so we should be generally okay, I think. It's that one particular B unit that they really don't like. That's fine. We still have healers. And as far as I'm concerned, like, we just do the same thing we did last time. I'm gonna... Oh, I should have moved them up one. I'm doing it in a slightly weird order. But it's basically just if we manage to get lucky with this guy, it's so that I can free the other units that are close to attacks on the allies. So the chip damage on the reverse engineer is purely from accidents. There might be an argument for me to sort of run in and start stinging it, but I'll leave it be for now. This looks like a very elaborate happy face. Target unit, switch to glaive mode. Ah, yeah, I think I see where this is going. I'll leave it be for now. Now, can this paladin champion... No! I was hoping that they might, but we'll have to give it another turn before we start doing the magic. Although, I might be able to annoy the enemy... Nope. These are really the only units they can come after, so in this case Overwatch makes slightly more sense than it normally would. I don't quite have the same need to build up the shield wall. We're the ones with the numbers on our side. That Warden banner really doesn't do a whole lot. Leave my bees alone! I'm gonna lose one of these.
No! Sacrifice.
I'm not resetting for that if you're worried. Actually, you know what? If I could have auto-combated it, I would have, but... Oh, damn it! I didn't want to do that with my Paladin champion. I wanted to move them in. Alright, that's fine. We'll, I do have a way of fixing this. I just hope... Where the hell did he come from? I obviously missed out on a big development. So now I gotta find a way of resurrecting this this guy over here. Clearly I need to protect what I have before I go too much further down the rabbit hole.
Enemy down.
That's so weird with what... I really don't know why that Voltic is back all of a sudden. But that's fine. So this guy, we're going to use him to repair things. We should be able to get a few... Fair enough. I'll bring the big guys in to sort of deal with the initial stuns and oh. I gotta find a way to stun this guy, because if I let my people over, no, you know what? Okay, this is so dumb, but I'm just gonna set up all the. I'm gonna set up as many defensive moves. If this guy, yeah, this is still gonna be a problem though, because if he moves, then he's probably gonna get the overwatches that are enough to kill him. I'm surprised I didn't have more effective ways of stunning him. So I'm trying to do here is give people some shields without... Okay, now if the AI winds up delivering another tactical operation that kills a bee, I'm going to be very upset. All right, we got very close to losing that, but looks like we can do a resurrection. Sadly, he doesn't get his other abilities, and at this point, I just don't think it's worth the. I don't think it's worth the effort to.
Our forces are victorious.
To try and heal everyone up again. Alright, that was a bit weird, but fun. There's only one Voltec in the stack, so something resurrected this thing. But the main effort here was basically to just get my armies ready for the final push, which we're now ready to do. So we'll get everybody to the edge of the region, at least as close as we can. Eluna is going to go after the evil paladins. Although maybe I'll keep a reserve force over here. These guys gotta combine with the rest of their unit. Those guys don't have anything to do.
Production ready. Production ready.
I think the residential sector's upgrade is a slightly higher priority than I originally said it was.
Production ready.
Norzadal. Let's get one of these things in the hopper. I'll live with that. I also think I can probably get away with a direct tribulation. So I have a direct tribulation and a soulfire in the prepped group, and then I should have enough strategic operations that I can fire another one of those before we have a big battle. So we should be able to get 2 soul fires off on whatever group we're after. Okay, we still got to wait a turn for that. You can move as intended. A lot of this is just going to be people going to the positions that I've asked them to, so there's not going to be that much. Not going to be that much that happens this turn. So again, this is a kind of a precaution in case things get too tough in the mountains. Apparently we've blocked things. I guess just need to deal with something in another tab really quick. I'm not ready to...
Operations primed and ready.
I'm not ready to fire that thing yet.
Happiness event in colony.
It's mostly just something to try and distract the...
Happiness event in colony.
to try and distract the AI while I'm
ready.
Getting into position. And we're really at the point here where I should consider getting rid of the builder. But I'll leave it.
Food keeps us alive. It is security. It can be challenging. Even a basic grain of rice has a story. Food starts wars. Food ends wars. It's a memory and lulls us into cozy forgetfulness. Only a fool disrespects food. Ma Regnib, second supper time.
Okay, a lot of this is kind of going through the motions. I suppose I should probably do... well, no, that won't necessarily help me that much, so let's do Hydro Exp.
Operations primed and ready.
Army's looking pretty good now. Okay, so obviously I'm about to do a big event, so let's do anything too stupid. All right. So we're technically we have lower power than them, but I'm reasonably confident that we will be able to take them out. I am not quite clear what's going on with this Dark Tower, though, or with the Chaos Oracle. So every one turn, the Dark Tower's Chaos Oracle disrupts the Strands of Fate, choosing 2 random hostile targets, marking those an adjacent. Okay, that's going to be clear. After 1 turn, the Chaos Oracle's prediction comes true, inflicting adversity to enemy units for 1 turn while granting allied units precognition for 1 turn. Ugh. That is going to be a big pain. Ah! Alright, well, these things... And they're tier 4, so I can't insta-kill them. So I'm not without options, though. I just need to make sure that I'm engaging them in... I just want to make sure I'm a little more careful in my placement this time around, but I'm pretty sure we should be able to see this thing through without too much difficulty. I guess I can start giving the benefits to everyone. I didn't do myself any favors on this side. I'll have to kind of move them over to the side like this. The real question is there anything I can do... Oh no, sorry, we don't have the ops yet. Ah, I never knew that I actually... Well, that changes everything. Everybody gets soul burn. Ah, all right.
Units.
I did not realize that was a thing.
Operations available.
Okay, so I got to be a bit thoughtful in terms of how I handle some of this stuff. Let's put the soul burn on this gentleman. So right now I got to worry about being my...
Enemy killed.
Gonna move them cure position. We'll take advantage of the soul burn here, so... Not so tough. Handle this. So my actually, so it's hard. But I want to make sure that doesn't get turned into a flank on me. So we're going to run up against this gentleman. I should have put down the soul fire. Oh no, we already did the soul fire. So the last question would be, is there a way for me to... Is there a way for me to do a quick high... high impact attack? Not enough. So I could try Arc Manifold, which is slightly higher, but it's a 1 in 4 chance that it hits the thing that I want.
Enemy eliminated.
All right.
Enemy killed.
Okay, so this is basically a cleanup job now. And in fact, I'll make life a little easier for myself because I can afford it. Atomic collapse on... Damn! Okay, so they're stuck in play. Ugh, this is gonna get ugly. Not much I can do with my commander right now, but she does have the pistol, so... I figure it's doubtful that they're going to be able to get a shot off on these guys, but let's see. Yeah, so I can just move them up. They don't get the defense, but that's life. I guess I already gave them that buff. Oh well. Good God. Oh no, sorry, that's the banner.
Fallen but not forgotten.
That was the bat, yeah. I probably shouldn't have used my commander for that. Alright, this unit... I'm being very wasteful doing this, but I think I'd prefer to just give them Cleansing Light. I seem to remember this unit on the side here had some wild abilities. Well, we've sort of seen them already. Yeah, at this point, let's just close the distance and see this thing through. So I'll start building a new, sort of a replacement scryer for my existing units. I'll try and get a veteran to join this particular army, but that's not a high priority. I suppose bringing one of the other Prophet-style units would be better. Alright, there we go.
Predicted outcome.
So, that should be the end of the main questline. It's over, villain. Now, before we end this, tell me how you could appropriate and twist around so much of our Oathbone technology. Where did you steal this battlesuit that would have been worthy to be worn by an Aki of the highest esteem? You know nothing, little puppet. None of what you see was stolen against law. I merely took what was mine by owing right. All property under my custody, like this warsuit crafted for me. Ergivan Verdis, Aki and owner of this planet. No, this cannot be. Aki Ergivan Verdis is buried with honors after he fell in heroic defense against the Voidbringer invasion. I visited his memorial in Trichet. You, on the other hand, are a tyrant and a criminal. No paladin would ever betray his oath like that. The memorial is a farce. Who would want more recognition in death than was given to him in life? And you err, Aki Luna, in thinking that my oath would no longer be intact. I pledge myself for now and forever to the destruction and grief of the weak and the poor. As a blackguard, I shall heed the deception of the seers and foster the voices of power and entropy that will allow me to put myself above others. No, stop! I swear to use this warsuit to sow chaos where the Oathbound construct their false order, and to capture the Grail configurations of power to liberate the final war. From this day on, I shall be considered an apostate. As an apostate, you shall die. This one's for the people of Truchet. A black lance strikes Ergivan Verdis through the chest, and his body gets disintegrated in a burst of chaotic energy. Forgive me, Mayaki, for my courage... for my courage failing in the contemplation of death. To save myself, I abandon my oath and my people. Any punishment you deem fair will be justified. Pardon. It requires great courage to admit one's mistakes and take full responsibility for your actions. Many would have bended in the face of Ergivan Verdis' threats and torture. You deserve a chance to redeem your actions and oath, Narwa of Damister. But first, you must seek rest among the idol of the populace and relearn the importance of their protection. Thank you, Mayaki, but before I leave, know this. Ergivan Verdis has made a secret pact with the Assembly. His Chaos Witches have been using their twisted technology to create a void barrier around the Assembly's headquarters to protect whatever it is they are building there. You will need to stop the witches to get in.
Objective completed.
All right. The Chaos Witches of the Apostates are the one fueling the void barrier around Terran of House Timur's territory with their twisted technology. Time to put an end to their misdoings. All right. This seems like a massive pain, especially given the number of, oh god. I've moved my whole army to another area. Well, I thought I was going to be done with it tonight, but it looks like we have some more... Oh wait, I only need to kill 7 of them. Okay, so there's a ton of them all over the map. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, no, there's plenty on our way. We won't need to worry too much about that. I don't think I can build anything in this sector yet, so I need to try and find a replacement for my scryer. There are 3 cats that live across the street, but one is an indoor cat. 2 around the corner, one of which lets you pet. Oh, very nice. Are you getting a visit right now? Oh, Rockbach. Fair enough. Of all of the things that could be said in error in a Twitch chat, I figure that's probably a pretty that's a pretty mild one. So you're among friends. Don't worry. Oh wow, that's going to be really expensive. I don't know if I have 4 turns to wait. No, it's Townsend Follies that's gotta make it. I'm not going to empty my treasury for that. I really thought that one of those would be in range. Maybe we should take this one and then this one.
Production ready.
So J6 Nevitz is almost ready for their full defense. Again, this is going to be the worry once this barrier comes down. If the assembly can come pouring out, that's gonna hurt. What? What a complete pain in the ass. So, oh, Jesus. So they combine up to... I like this game, but that actually really annoys me. Yeah, so it turns out, like, basically by completing that mission, it let all of these witches kind of come out of nowhere. And presumably they're going to be able to do that to all my other territories as well. It's like, this game is good at doing, like, fun and dramatically appropriate surprises. This one just sort of feels like the game just kicked me in the balls. Because now it means that I'm actually going to have to go and deal with all of them. Alright. With the Wicked Witches wiped out, the Void Barrier they created is starting to fade away, giving us access to the headquarters of Terran of the Assembly. It is time to write the final chapter of this tale and strike our enemy where he is most vulnerable.
Objective completed.
Oh,
So now, of course, I need to get my my units back in position. I think my approach here is going to be just to ignore the witches. It means I'm going to lose a couple of sectors, but it's better than wasting a bunch of resources into into something that's not actually going to end the war.
Intelligence unveils realms of choice, just as sunlight traces many paths, making visible their destinations. So too does giving word to light convey pure intelligence to both travelers, teacher and student.
Okay, I should do future military tech just to see what it's like. It's probably a little too late for that. I'm also no, there's still a whole bunch of people there. So, I'm gonna try something. Oh, doesn't matter. One turn, the player you're not war. Okay, well, I've got a bunch of CBs already, so I don't see that changing. Now, I mean, I just built a whole bunch of military infrastructure, which I'm assuming is still going to be available to them when they take it over. Mind you, I have a few turns before the takeover happens, so I think we should still be fine. Hopefully the war is over before we need to worry about that. High risk battle. Okay, then we're running away.
Production ready. Production ready.
I think I'm still going to stay the course for a lot of this. The biggest thing I'm worried about
primed and ready.
is the negative income right now. And it looks like oh no, they're all going to head home, it looks like. Alright, that's going to make life harder when I do this fight. I mean, it makes sense that they'd consolidate. It's just inconvenient for me. In this case,
Operations primed and ready.
I will do this right, and we'll deploy a monitor. I mean, that's not a trivial defense, but It's actually the fact that they all have commanders that's the real worry. But I think that is something that we have a very reasonable chance of taking out. It's really a question of consolidating my units right now.
Incoming communication. Enemy operation detected.
Okay, no chance of detection. We did successfully steal money.
Production ready.
Okay, these guys are ready to go. Again, I think it's very unlikely that this is actually going to show up when I need it, but we can hope.
We have mapped the ocean currents, felt the surge of the tide. There's a world's worth of momentum behind that unbridled motion, just waiting to be harnessed. We have the knowledge to become an empire of ships. Admiral Damas Kent.
Okay. We'll go for neo-evangelicals, I suppose. So it looks like we've got 3 units which are sort of out of position right now. They are a bit tougher on this side, but I think probably what I can do is if I sort of surround this unit here, so we take this hex, this hex, this hex, this hex, and this hex, we basically take on this little triangle, which is their strongest, and then when we go to take the city, we should be in a decent enough position to to sort of mop up the remainder. And again, a lot of that is sort of contingent on us being able to get people where they need to be on somewhat short notice. I'm sort of tempting fate doing this, but... I shouldn't put too much emphasis on my bees being able to carry the day, but another sector for Haven Spire.
Production ready.
I just want to see what happens next turn with the assembly. We knew that was coming. So it looks like they're going to stay put. I'm going to test that. Get up, Terran of House Timur, hand over your weapons and the lives of your remaining troops can be spared. Your self-assurance amuses me. Why should I surrender now, when the hour of our greatest triumph is near? For soon the united generations of the Assembly will lay their claim on nothing less than the Union Prime itself. Union Prime, the capital world that was created to rule them all? You're delusional. The planet has been devoured by the cataclysm and is lost for eternity. There's no limit to the Assembly's potential, Subject Theta 39667. With the help of the data provided by our apostate allies, we discovered that Union Prime still exists within the void. It is lingering there in cosmic stasis, like a stranded whale waiting to get pulled back into the ocean. Now behold and witness the activation of the Logan Shaw grapple, where one chord fails, the combined strength of 1,000,000 will lift up even a Colossus. The tremors, the permanent lightning from the void. It's just like the other paladins describe. I'm beginning to understand. The Ecosat of Verdis is not even your target. It's just an anchor. Very good. Your brain may be of some use to us after all. You were too late to stop us, Subject Theta 39667. Join us or fight us. Reassembly awaits one way or the other. Again, more surprises. Thanks, game. I am getting very careless in a lot of my choices here too, but at this point I am actually just kind of trying to get... I'm just trying to get this done. Okay, botanical gardens. We really need some defenses for this place, but we're still short on money. So this was, this is kind of experimental to see whether or not they would send units out after us.
Sector annexed.
If they do, we may have to go
Happiness
back.
event in colony. Production ready.
Oh, here we are. Whoa! Didn't want you to do that. Fortunately, it didn't matter. This is not going to be an easy fight. Okay, so here's
Operations
basically
primed and ready.
what the plan... What? Oh, there we go. I actually should have done that earlier. But we'll see if we can make this out. So the big plan that I had was we're going to find someone who we really want to put the screws to. And I think this is definitely a unit that I... Oh. Yes. And then we can do another soul burn. So they may have a small numerical advantage, if I'm reading this correctly. But we did just put a bunch of damage on them. So it says it's a low-risk battle. So if I enable these, I don't really want to see any units lost off of this. Cool. We got my triangle back. So if I just did the auto combat, I'm curious if... Oh, crumbs! I should have saved before, because otherwise that would have been a... I might have to redo a bunch of it. Thing is, this is like the game, so... Tron and this assembly are no longer, yet there is little reason for the celebration. The people of this world cannot be considered safe while their planet is chained to the void with an energy lash. Still, you did well, Examinia Luna. I forwarded my compilation of your deeds and findings to the High Palladus. He is requesting your presence on Archcanon 8. Arcanon 8, the seat of the circle in the Oracle. I am honored to receive such a generous invitation, but I must decline. The people of this planet need my protection. Your abilities have been deemed apt to serve a greater good, Akia Luna Leoness. Accept this new calling. There are other paladins who can carry on your duties here, while the void anchors of the Assembly are a responsibility best left to us seers. And one last thing before we part. The base of the Assembly holds important fragments of their void technology. It could prove useful for you in the challenges ahead. I will keep Celestian. Thank you, Vraskel. I wouldn't have made it here without your counsel, but this time I must stay true to my Celestian roots. They are the source of my courage and inner strength, and my best protection in the ongoing war with the Assembly. Alright. So I'm sorry to end that a little anticlimactically through auto combat, but I am it's not just that I had a late start, but I am also sort of running past time, and I don't know. We brought enough soldiers to get the work done. Had I had to do the tactical battle, what I would have done was I gave the debuffs to the unit that I was going to do the 8 strength chance of wiping out the unit on. So the idea would have been the first turn I would have tried to wipe out as many units with that 2 hex ability, and then sort of from that we would have moved in. We would have sort of progressively, we've used the paladins as a shield wall, moved in. The big attempt would have been to try and take out as many units as possible while having the maximum amount of health. And then here, of course, it would have been, preserve the bees or what have you. But in this case here, it was really just a matter of being able to take the headquarters and get to the end. I always hate ending missions with an auto combat, but the game didn't need to suddenly spawn a million chaos witches and take the extra time. So I don't know. This is kind of a neat one to see just in terms of the overall shape. So actually, it looks like the Devar still wound up with a higher overall score. Of course, they started a war and then never actually did anything about it. So, yeah. It is actually one thing I do like about these kinds of games are being able to see the changes on the map over time. But yeah, we'll do continue campaign and leave it at that.
While the calling of bravery has reached its sudden end, my journey as an oathbound paladin feels like it only began. Following the High Palladius orders, I shall travel to Arcanon 8 and its vast archives of knowledge, where I will come before Oracle, given voice by the Vestal Seers. It is my final test of courage, as it is said that the eye of Oracle can peer through the very soul of a mortal man.
All right. And that is it for tonight. So again, sorry if that was sort of a kind of a bumpy ride to the finale. Now, I'd love to do Union Prime on stream. That last so I really love the campaign mode for this game. I will admit this particular one was the one where I started to feel like the campaign events. So the things that were supposed to be a benefit for me, I don't really feel that they were communicated, that they were sort of a time-sensitive benefit. And the stuff that was sort of a drawback really did like make me feel like I was hard done by. And it might just be, it might just be sort of the context in terms of which I was playing. So that one was a little bit of a mixed bag for me. Overall, though, I actually really enjoy the campaign mode, and my original intention had been to finish Star Kings and then go back to the main campaign. But I do also kind of need to contend with the fact that I have mentioned a couple of times that I've been considering moving on to another game. We have been doing Age of Wonders Planetfall for a very long time, and the fact of the matter is that it is one of the few games in which I can sort of take a look at sort of the attendance and the response to it, both on YouTube and Twitch, and it seems to be the thing that people are not as interested in as I'm interested in. So with that in mind, I definitely don't like saying never on games. I think the only game I've ever really said never to was Rust. But other than that, you never really know what's coming up. So as always, if you would like to see more Age of Wonders Planetfall, please let me know, because right now I'm getting the idea that this is a game which I enjoy more, to play more than people necessarily enjoy watching me play. And I think also with games like Phantom Brigade, I think there's a couple of other games that will fit very well for the Monday strategy. There is also the question about Stellaris, because, I mean, in very practical terms, the only DLC that's been released, which I don't have, is the Necron Species Pack. So if you guys would like to see more Stellaris, this will probably be the last time where I can play it with sort of the most fully featured version of the game if trends with Paradox have been going the way that they are. So I don't know if there's some appetite to see me do some more grand strategy stuff, or if generally this is a good opportunity for the new year to start broadening the horizons. The one thing that is true is that unless something changes with the keys, I just don't see it as being sustainable to keep doing Paradox Mondays. There was a while when I was doing Crusader Kings, people were really good about sort of donating DLC to the channel to keep things up to date. I definitely never want to rely on that. And more importantly, the real dilemma is that I was totally fine in the past about doing sort of like streaming the game without all of the DLC present. But the problem is now is that there's an expectation that whatever version I'm going to be playing is sort of the most up-to-date one. And so that's kind of what's disentangled it. What I do want to be clear about is that doesn't mean I won't do Paradox games. I sort of intend to do Planetfall in the future. Maybe some absence will make the heart grow fonder with this game, and I can show maybe what the planet mode looks like. And likewise, I really like Stellaris. I really like Crusader Kings. I fully intend to stream those games again, but it does mean that there just won't be a dedicated day anymore. And of course, because Cultist Simulator is something that's on YouTube now, that actually means that I have a lot more freedom inside of my schedule. So if you guys are interested in seeing me do different stuff or new stuff, it's a good time to think of it. I didn't actually specifically plan it out to be for the new year, but that's the way that it's turned out. But yeah, I am actually very grateful to Triumph for sending out the keys for this. I think they've made a really wonderful game. And actually, I don't normally do this, but let me just take a quick second to see, because we're getting at the end of all of the holiday sales. So, Age of Wonders Planetfall. So if you want to buy it on Steam, obviously if you use the Humble link, you'll get a Steam key, and it'll give me a little bit of money towards me. But however you decide to do it, the base game is $14.24 Canadian. It's currently 75% off. Invasions, Revelations. So the first two DLC are 50% off. So $8.74 for Revelations, $11.39 for Invasions. That was the one with the Shakarn, the lizard people. If you want to pick up the Season Pass, this is actually probably one of the better deals right now. So if you take a look at the Season Pass, it's 50 per... Actually, let me just get the math. It works out. So if you buy the Season Pass, it's 50% off right now. So Canadian, it's $31.33. So Star Kings is $22.79. So if you basically buy... if you were to buy... any two of the DLC, you get the other one for free, is probably the way to look at that. There's a few other different editions of Age of Wonders Planetfall. I don't know if they still sell them. Yeah, so the premium edition is the one... Oh, wow. Is that right? Okay, never mind. I should shut up. So apparently, double check this for yourself. If you were to buy Age of Wonders Planetfall Premium Edition, that's Planetfall, Age of Wonders Planetfall Invasions, Revelations, Star Kings, Deluxe Edition Content Pack, and then the forum icons, so on and so forth, that is apparently $25.74 right now. So that makes a lot more sense to buy than the Season Pass, because, of course, the Season Pass is going to cost 30-something. So yeah, if you buy turns out if you buy the base game with the premium edition, that's the easiest. That's the least expensive way to buy all of the DLC. I do encourage you, if you like 4X style games, and particularly if you like ones with a little bit more developed combat, this is a really special kind of game. And I wish that this game maybe got a little bit more attention than it seems to. I've definitely done my best to sort of keep the faith, but I'll come back to it when I think I'm in a better place to do that. But as for me, I'll give you I need to find
team since 2011. The number 1 overall in the world 3 of the past 7 years.
Stop.
And it has won 4 of the past 5 DEF CONs. And DEF CON, if you've ever been to it, if you go to where the hackers are, is the Super Bowl of hacking.
Sorry, all my YouTube videos popping up as soon as I open my browser. Yeah, so the plans for this week, we've already got a new episode of Morrowind recorded, so that's going to be going live tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Yeah, DEF CON. But yeah, so that's 7 o'clock. If you want to watch, and chat, that will be 7 o'clock here. If you want to watch the high definition version, that is, well, I mean, it's all high definition, but if you want to see sort of the high bitrate version, that will be on YouTube at 7 o'clock as well. Wednesday, I'll be back. I actually have a fairly open schedule now, and I got the impression that a lot of people really wanted to see more Hollow Knight. So I'm considering doing that for Wednesday and or Friday. And then for this coming Monday, I will probably do some more Phantom Brigade. But that's it for Planetfall for the next little while. And when I'm ready to do it again, I'll put out a tweet. I think I'm probably going to play some of the game on my own, so that some of the things that are causing me to reload, I'm probably going to just do those on my own time to try and get the just get the kinks out and try and give people a little bit more of a something more to watch, I guess. Anyways, it looks like Night Valian is streaming still, so I'm going to send you off to him. He's currently playing a game called Timelie, which I've never really heard of. I will mention very briefly that it does look like, unlike has normally been the case, there is another streamer doing Age of Wonders Planetfall. So if you're specifically here for this game, do feel free to check them out. You can just click the button down below. But I do recommend watching Night Valian because he's someone who's been doing a lot of really interesting sort of puzzle and sort of open world games that I've been enjoying lately. And this Timelie game actually looks kind of interesting. So I'm going to hang out for a little bit. I have a little tax stuff to do tonight. But thank you all for watching. Thank you for hanging out. Good night to you, Joshy Man. I'll see some of you tomorrow for the Morrowind broadcast, and the rest of you probably on Wednesday and Friday. And for those of you who like the strategy, we'll see you for Phantom Brigade on next week. Have a good one, and Happy New Year to those of you I don't see before then.